What is up, everybody? What's going on? How's everyone's day going? We're here at episode 5 of Mels, Shady, Just4Bad Sportscast. How's everyone's Tuesday going, guys? How's Lamb? How is Shady? How you guys doing today, fellas?
Good, 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 man. Happy
Bro,
Tuesday to everybody.
I'm feeling great. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling real big. You know what I mean? Hit a nice workout today. I'm feeling like I can punch through walls. You know what I'm saying? Pull a hunter's heart right out of his chest, lick it, stick
Ooh,
it back in there. That's how I'm feeling right now.
dang.
That's funny. That's too funny.
What about you? How was your day, Melby? How you feeling, bro?
Work wasn't too bad, guys. Work wasn't too bad. Other than
Always a
that,
plus.
been chilling with you guys here for a few minutes now, getting everything situated, talking about everything, getting everything ready for podcast, and it's gonna be a good one today, guys. I'm excited. I'm pretty excited. We got a lot to
Same.
talk about today, guys. NFL had a lot of ups and downs this past weekend. We had some good picks that we predicted, and then we had a couple of games where we're like, what the hell happened? Um, one of
Very,
them,
very true.
one of them being what was supposed to be the game of the week, and being Tampa Bay and the Green Bay Packers, and
Oof.
we were expecting that to be a very tough game, hard fought game, and Tampa Bay just came out and pretty much throttled them, and it wasn't a game at all. And I wasn't expecting it at all. That was the first time that all three of us have been wrong in any of our predictions on any one of our podcasts and any of the sports that we predicted in so far. So that was kind of disappointing at the same time as well. What was your guys' thoughts on that game, guys? Completely not the outcome that we were expecting, of course. Tom Brady and Gronk, we saw that connection get live again. Gronk ended up scoring a touchdown for them. Ronald Jones had a field day on the ground as well. Tampa Bay just came out and was a whole different team, and Green Bay had no answer for him whatsoever.
Well, before we get started, let me first just apologize to both of you guys for that Browns Steelers game. You guys did give me an out to not choose the Browns. However, I still stuck. I doubled down, and they embarrassed me. I know we're talking about the Bucks, and I know we're talking about Green Bay, but I got to get this off my chest. It's heavy because I was looking for that to be an upset game, and it was not. It was predictable down to the very last second. And yeah, man, I just wanted to apologize to everybody. It's I bought into the hype. That's all I can say. I bought into the hype, and I was wrong. But
We'll get to that game too, because there's a
yeah,
couple of key factors that ended up happening in that game as well. But yeah, with this
yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I just took y'all all the way out. My bad, but I just had to throw
No, that
that
was funny,
apology in,
man.
man.
That's
I
too
had to throw the
funny.
apology in, bro. But yeah, the Bucks and the Packers game, man. It was interesting to see because again, we were talking about this last week when it came to Tom Brady, and we talked about him getting used to the system, him getting comfortable, and what we could expect to see because he has weapons around him. Now, what I loved about this week was Gronkowski turned back the hands of time and actually kind of started to look like the old Gronkowski,
And that
just
was
running
interesting
out
because
there
he hasn't done
like
nothing yet this year.
exactly out of nowhere. He shows up and he's grabbing. He's get like it was a complete win from defense to offense. Like they did not give Aaron Rodgers they didn't give him time to throw. When he did throw, they were cutting, they were fighting over receivers. Like this meant something to Tampa, and it was kind of like
yep,
they wanted to give that statement that
yep.
look, this is a different squad, and we're gonna prove that we have what it takes. Because remember, most of the analysts, including ourselves, coming up, were saying this is the game that Tom Brady loses. This is like we really gave no shot to Tampa to beat Green Bay. It was like, nah, Green Bay's got this in the bag, and for them to demoralize them the way that they did and handle them, like they limit them to 10 points. Meanwhile,
Oof.
they almost put up 40. Like that's we have not even seen Tampa get close to that amount of offensive production. Um,
We've seen
so
Ronald
it
Jones
just
have a
kind of
few nice games this year too, and he had another good game against Green Bay again this past weekend. Um, so it's looking like with Fournette being out, I don't know if Fournette's gonna get an opportunity to lead that backfield at all this year. Because Ronald
What?
Jones has completely stepped into that role since he's been out. And even when Fournette was there, Fournette only had one good game, and then he got hurt.
Hold on, Melby. Hold on, bro.
I'm just pointing facts, man. Just pointing
You are
he's
facts.
you
like
are you
he's
are
like,
pointing
"Look,
facts,
let
but
me let me pause this real quick.
there's one fact
Mute
I
button.
need you to realize.
Right?
Okay, do you know who Leonard Fournette
I do.
is?
But
Do
Bruce
Yeah.
you
Arians
remember
also
him
said
with
that Ronald Jones is
Jacksonville
no matter
and
what going to be the number one
LSU?
back.
Yeah, yeah, we've heard that before too. And in the NFL, you're the starter until you're not the starter,
True.
That is
right?
true.
So
True.
they can say no matter what, Dwayne Haskins is the quarterback. Really? You
But
know what I
Ronald
mean?
Until he
Jones
has
has
a
lived
couple
up to the
bad
starting role,
games.
though.
Yeah. If you're starting an NFL franchise, I know I always go there. Are you want to take Leonard Fournette when he's healthy, or you're going to stick with Ronald Jones?
Honestly, they're both good backs. And the
Bro,
way Ronald Jones has been playing this year, you can't give him any less than a 50-50.
I will give him 90-10.
No.
I will be taking Leonard
You
Fournette.
can't cut Ronald Jones out like that when he's been there a lot longer than Fournette has and knows the system as well.
Leonard Fournette, exactly. Leonard Fournette, once he learns the system and knows what to do in that offense and how they're going to use running backs, remember, Leonard Fournette is like the modern day Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
I know Adrian Peterson's still playing, but Leonard
Right.
Fournette can run through 3 or 4 guys and stomp their dreams out and still pick up a
This is
touchdown.
true.
That is
This is
Leonard
true.
Fournette. But Ronald Jones has been beasting out. He's on my fantasy squad in my
He's
league.
on my fantasy
so,
squad too.
he has been bowling out.
He's
Shameless
on my
plug.
money league squad. That's how
but-
much trust I have in him.
But if I'm the coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as soon as Leonard Fournette is healthy, they're splitting carries.
That's what I'm saying.
100%.
50-50 split carries no matter what. But you can't just
But
cut Ronald
roll-
Jones out to a 90-10.
Leonard Fournette's getting all the touchdowns. He's the goal line back.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
by far he's gonna
yeah.
be the goal line back. But the future back up until that point is gonna be Ronald Jones until you get within the 20-yard line.
Agreed. But yeah, then this is the reason I did not have Green Bay in my power rankings. They weren't even in my top
I wasn't
5.
expecting that off the bye week. I really wasn't.
Mhm.
I was expecting Green Bay to come out and at least put up a fight to at least stay within the power rankings. But now it's like I don't even know where they belong.
See, and this is one of those things where I'm not even happy to be right. The first reason I'm not even happy to be right is because in my other league, Aaron Rodgers is my quarterback, and he got me 5 fantasy points.
It was bad.
Okay?
Mm.
So if I ever meet Aaron Rodgers in real life, you know I love wrestling, belly to back, I'm taking him. I'm taking him all the way.
He's suplexing him triple.
Bro, I'm taking him all the way.
Oh
Right?
man.
Stop doing all state commercials or whatever, State Farm commercials or whatever.
Whatever it is.
5 fantasy points. You're
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, bro. You're supposed to be, just like I said last week, like Bret the Hitman Hart, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. No,
No.
I no longer consider you elite. You had a 5 fantasy point football game, and you've only been to the Super Bowl once. I
This
don't
is
care
facts.
how many back shoulder fades you throw. In my opinion, Aaron Rodgers, I don't give a crap about your interceptions to touchdown ratio or your QBR. If you can get squashed like that, you look like Mitchell Trubisky out there, bro.
Ooh.
Okay?
Yikes.
That's how bad it was. The majority of his team is healthy.
Ouch.
What's the excuse? What's the excuse? The majority of your team is healthy. You play in the same division as the Chicago Bears every single season.
This is true.
That's facts.
What are you talking? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? I don't even know what's happening. He's gone up against Khalil Mack multiple times in his career.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand it. But in my book, in my personal book of sports records, Aaron Rodgers, until you win another until you go to another Super Bowl, you are not elite. You better throw for 6,000 yards if you want to get back, or don't throw a pick all season, which as
Them
we know,
missing
is-
Devontae
That's
Adams
not
has been a
gonna-
big miss
yeah.
on that offense, and they also ended up losing Alan Lazard
Not elite.
for no, but he was filling in really nice for Devontae Adams while Devontae Adams was out.
Eli Manning has never had any wide receiver that is in the Super Bowl has never had a great Devontae Adams type wide receiver. The best he's ever had was who? Plexico Burris?
Yeah.
Plexico and Victor Cruz are the best wide receivers he's ever had in the playoffs, right? Him and Odell never really went to the NFC championships or division round or any of that, right? So we can't include him.
Right.
And he beat dynasties. Eli Manning did,
That
and
Giants
we don't consider
defense
him
was
elite,
nice
bro.
at that point, though, too.
I don't know of any
'Cause
time
They beat up Brady in both of those Super Bowls.
I
This
can't
is true.
recall Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, ever having a five fantasy football points game week ever. Aaron Rodgers got that. He got more points when he was injured 2 seasons ago and on the bench. He got more than 5 fantasy points.
Dang.
He got 5 fantasy points just for showing up to support his teammates. There is no excuse for 5 fantasy points, Aaron Rodgers. There is no
That's
excuse for you to
facts.
not at least throw 3 touchdowns in that game.
Yeah.
I don't understand, bro.
Yep.
Did y'all not prepare? Do you not know who Tom Brady is? Did you think he was done? Did you think the yoga's not working? Let me tell you why Tom Brady's not done. Have you seen his wife? Do you know
Yeah.
who Giselle is?
Oh yeah,
Hey, Aaron, I
we
know
all
you're
know
with
who Giselle is.
I know he's with the race car driver, but if you know Tom Brady and you've seen his wife, you know he's got to stay in tip top shape. All right, and that's facts, Aaron. Because I know you're listening, Aaron. I
Hey,
know you're in
Oh
Ron.
my
stream right now.
lord, I'm dead.
No
Listen.
excuse. 5 fantasy points, bro. I'm trying to trade you in my league, bro. I'm trying to trade you.
I
Get off
mean,
my.
let's be honest. When it comes down to the game, that was embarrassing.
Oh,
Yeah,
by
And
far.
for anybody that for Packers fans, for fans that are fans of Aaron Rodgers, like bro, there, like Lamb said, there's no explanation that you can give for that. Like you put up your offense collectively only put up 10 points. That's not elite in a like. Imagine if this was an NFC conference matchup. Like this is the best you can do. Like 10 points. That's it. That's all you got.
Well, and the way
And
it was looking
there,
too is if Tampa Bay ended up getting everything situated, which we ended up seeing, that was gonna possibly be an NFC Championship game too. The way Green Bay has been playing.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like they never, they never adjusted to the defense. How many elite quarterbacks have we watched? First half, they're filling it out, and then by second half, third, fourth quarter, they figured out the defense, figured out those schemes,
Yeah.
and they're picking it apart. This man never looked comfortable the
No.
entire time,
Never.
and it's like, what, bro? Like at the end of the day, let's just be honest. It's still the Bucks. Like they did get an addition of Tom Brady, but he's on offense. That means Aaron Rodgers, you don't play against him.
That
true.
defense was a
uh,
top 5 defense at the end of last year,
it's
though.
it's yeah. I mean,
Shaquille Barrett went off last year. We haven't seen
we've
Shaquille
always
Barrett yet this
had
year.
we've always had a good defense, but honestly, when you look at the beginning of the season when they played Chicago, you weren't getting those vibes from Tampa when they played against the Saints. You weren't getting those vibes, and I only mention these because right now these are teams that they possibly could see. So,
Right.
like when they played against Drew Brees, did Drew Brees look stargazed and out of whack? No, he
We
picked the
hardly ever
defense
see
apart.
Drew Brees like that.
But you're saying, people are saying that Aaron Rodgers is better than Drew Brees. They're saying that he's an elite quarterback. They're saying that he's one of the best to ever do it. You can't say that, and then Drew Brees comes out, picks the defense apart, but you can only put up one touchdown.
Right.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was just double checking my stats because I know the quarterback went half touchdowns and half interceptions. The number one passing offense in the NFL last year. Number
Who,
one.
Tampa? Yeah, that's because
Yep.
Jameis went off. He led the league with like 4,600 yards passing last year and a
Oh yeah,
30-30 ratio.
he went off all right. But Melby, we can have the number one passing offense in the NFL too if we throw every single down and don't give a crap about interceptions.
This
Right.
is true.
That's facts.
This is true.
And
But
that's
I'm
why
just
he's no
saying.
longer a starting quarterback in the league anymore.
But I'm just saying, Aaron Rodgers, Green Bay
Yeah.
defense. What
Yeah.
the crap was that? But this is why I never go with a team to dominate through the regular season and the playoffs when they have a brand new first year head coach. Green Bay
Yeah.
Packers, Dallas Cowboys. I don't expect them to do anything. They can win a couple games. They can even make the wild card playoffs. But first year head coach,
I knew
nope.
that Cowboys
Don't
one was
expect
going to be a mistake, and we're going to get to that too, actually, because that's been a big topic this week. Actually,
Right.
it's been bad for Dallas. It hasn't looked good, guys. Has not looked good at all. Other recent games this past week, though, that took our mind, guys, were quite surprising. The game of the week that ended up happening was actually the Tennessee and Houston game. That game went into overtime. It's only their second week on that head coach for the interim coach that they have now. And they took probably arguably they might be the best team in the NFL right now, the Tennessee Titans. The way they're looking. And for Houston to put up 38 points? 36-42.
Yeah.
For them to put up that many points in the second week to arguably maybe the best team in the NFL right now, the way they've been playing, besides Pittsburgh, but they lost also a key injury this week as well, being Devin Bush. And we'll get to injuries and impacting players are going to be taken over this week here in a minute as well. But for Houston to come out like that, and I said this last week, they're going to be a dangerous team to look out for because they're going to finally open up, and Bill O'Brien was not the person for them, and he completely ruined that franchise, unfortunately. But for them to show out and to put up that many points and to look that good, I still believe they're going to be a force to reckon with, especially doing that against the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee's still undefeated. Pittsburgh's still undefeated. I want to say those are the only two undefeated teams left in the league now, I believe. If I'm
The Seahawks. Seahawks haven't been
are
beat.
also undefeated as well. Okay. So besides those three teams, it's gonna be it's hard. And then with everything mixing around, power rankings are all over the place this week. Power rankings have completely changed.
This is true.
And with this week's matchups, it's going to be a whole nother story as well because there's a lot of decent matchups this week too. But going back into that Tennessee and Houston game, obviously they always play each other rough. It's a divisional matchup as well. But we weren't expecting that to be the game of the week, and it ended up being the game of the week. And it was the only overtime game of the week as well. The other good games were the Cincinnati-Indianapolis game. I almost picked that upset. I almost picked that
You
upset.
almost.
It was looking
so
so
close.
good, guys. It was looking so good.
You're so
It was
close.
21-0 at halftime. And Cincinnati blew it like they always do.
Mm-hmm.
Like they always do.
Yep. Where Lamb was right.
That's why I paused, guys, because I knew he was going to say something.
Where Lamb was right.
He did call it
Yeah.
out. I gotta give it
He
to him.
did
He
call
did
it.
call it out.
He called it.
The
He really
Colts
did.
have the best offensive line and the best defensive line in NFL football. And as good as Cincinnati looked for the first half of that game, Joe Burrow was a madman. Joe Mixon was a madman. AJ Green was catching balls. Tyler Boyd was catching balls. They look like a football team. But that line will beat down on you.
Mm-hmm.
That line will beat down on you. There's no way they can hold that up. The only way the Bengals are going to win another game, they need to get up 52-3. And then just let
Oh
the
my
other team
Lord.
score and run the clock out. Like they're literally going to have to score 3 touchdowns and run the clock out.
I don't.
They have to run the clock out.
Yeah.
Hard.
Now
But
we got to rub in Rand Lamb's face now, guys. His amazing Rams
Yes.
lost to the San
Yes.
Francisco 49ers and
Yes.
Jimmy G coming
Listen.
back and playing good, guys.
Please, can I introduce this? Can I do this for Lamb?
oh yeah,
Can-
go
can-
ahead.
The
can
floor
the-
is yours, Shady.
Go ahead.
Can the LA Rams please come to the front of the congregation because we need to have conversation.
Yeah.
So last week, our dear brother Lamb, aka Lamont, was harping about the Rams and how we did not properly place them. How they, based off of what he's seen, the eye test was telling him that this Rams team should be higher, like they're a complete team. And then Sunday happened, and yeah, I think we had them right. I think we had them properly placed. That's
We
all I'm
had
gonna
them
say.
properly
We
placed,
had them
guys.
properly placed.
Are you
Floor
done?
is yours, Lamb.
Are you done?
I'm done. I'm done.
Let me make sure everyone's done before I hit y'all with my Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, here
Matter
we
of fact,
go.
where's my veteran guardian emojis? He's got a Stephen A. Smith
He
face.
does
Let
have
me
a
find
Stephen
my
A. Smith
let me
face.
find my bet.
Uh,
Let me find my bet emotes real quick.
oh,
I'm gonna let y'all
There they are,
finish.
chat. Stephen A. Smith.
I'm gonna let y'all finish. So what are we talking about here? What were we talking about? We talking about the Rams? Who did they lose against? Huh? Who did they lose against? The 49ers? The Super Bowl team? Wasn't this the team that was in the Super Bowl last year? So we're gonna get upset. We're gonna move them across. Wait. We're gonna take them out of the power rankings because they lost to the Super Bowl teams? No, wait. Do we do that to any team who the Kansas City Chiefs beat? The Kansas City Chiefs been to the Super Bowl too. We don't take them out if they lose to the Chiefs. So why we gonna take out the Rams if they lose to the 49ers? The Rams hold as one of the best teams in the NFC because they lost to the defending NFC champions means nothing.
With their
That
best
means
defensive
nothing.
player.
They're the NFC champions. They're the NFC champions with a healthy team coming back.
They're there without their best defensive player.
No. That had not. Who in the NFC can stop Greg Kittle?
George Kittle?
Yeah, George Kittle. Who in the? It's just same thing. Who in the NFC can stop Travis Kelce? Who in the NFC can stop Travis Kelce? Who in the NFC can stop George Kittle?
Nobody.
Who do you throw to all day long if you're Patrick Mahomes and you're Jimmy G?
Your tight ends. And
I'm
that's
done.
why it's National Tight End
I'm
Week
done.
this week, chat.
I'm done.
wait. Now I gotta pull a max. But you said that they were the most complete team. So how
And
did
they
they get
still
beat
are.
by a tight end dump off?
Wait,
How?
hold on now, hiatus. Now you said you'll be. Now let me say mine. You said you'll let me say mine. Okay.
Oh my lord.
Did I ever say that the Rams would go undefeated?
You did not.
No, you didn't.
You
made
wait.
a convincing
You
case.
made a very convincing case that the Rams were pretty much the NFC champions.
Ain't no but. Did I ever say that the Rams would go undefeated and not lose a game all season?
No.
You didn't.
No.
Yes or no question?
You didn't.
No.
You didn't. However, I can not say that honey tastes good, but I can give you a clear depiction of how good it should taste to you.
So they lost one game against the defending champions. They lost one game against the defending champions.
I'm just saying.
If the Celtics play the Lakers during the regular season next year and they lose one game, does that mean your team is trash and not going to the Eastern Conference Finals?
No.
Of course not.
But this is the NFL.
This is football.
There's only 16.
This ain't a best of seven.
There's 17 weeks, so you play 16 games compared to 82 games in the NBA.
Are y'all serious right now?
You play that team twice, and it's a division rival.
So let's address this. Let's address this differently. Let's address this differently. Did we not see the stiff arm of the year with the Bills? Right? We saw the stiff arm.
Should have retired at halftime.
Demoralized that team. That even when they played against the Chiefs, it wasn't even a game. It wasn't even a game.
Josh Allen had 60
what
yards.
I'm saying
with 3
is,
minutes
when
left
you
in the third
say
quarter.
that a team, because this is also what we're talking about when we're talking about. We just talked about the Titans and the Texans and their complete roster and how those boys fought. They fought division. They fought. LA looked
That's not what happened
out of sorts. LA looked out of sorts. I'm just saying, like, whether or not it's the defense, this is your moment. Cue the music. This is my moment to take down and show them that I am the best of the best. I don't care who you have on that other side. We are the Rams. We've gone to the Super Bowl before. We're looking to go back. This is our proving ground. And then you do that.
No.
Do that.
Erroneous.
You do
Erroneous
that.
on all counts.
You do
Erroneous
that.
on all counts.
I'm okay.
You're talking about one game.
Okay.
What is
But
one
What?
regular season game?
So
They
that means
still
a
have a
lot
winning
when it
record.
comes within the division.
I mean,
Nah.
this is true. I mean, there's a lot of teams that
How
still
far
have
is San
winning.
Francisco down in the
Have
division?
Not that
there's a
far,
lot of
honestly.
there's a lot of teams that
San
have winning records,
Francisco
but they're not going to make the
is
playoffs.
actually only they're
Say it.
right. They're right behind the Rams, and that's only because
By
of
how many games?
That's by one game in the loss column. That's it.
So what you're saying is
They're
the Rams
3-3,
are still
and the Rams
are
are
still ahead of
4-2.
them. Yeah. So
But-
what you're saying is one team has a winning record, the other team has to play balls out, lights out for the rest of the season
But-
just to try to get the playoff spot.
No, not necessarily, because this week is a whole different story. Considering the Rams play Chicago.
Okay, that's a win.
I don't think so. If Nick Foles
It's
is going to
fine.
be starting,
Listen, no,
and that
no,
Chicago Bears is a
Melby,
good
Melby.
defense.
Melby, let them set it up. Let them set it up.
Let him
Because
set
then we
it
can
up.
come back.
I will set it up.
Come
You know
back.
why? Because I've
Come
been
back
more
and
right
have
than
this
hiatus.
conversation.
I've been
You
more
have.
right than
You
Melby.
have.
I've
You
been the
have.
most accurate announcer on
however-
this podcast.
However,
The
we are
Rams
getting,
will
we
beat
are
the
getting
Chicago
to,
I don't know
Bears.
about that one.
we are getting to the crucial moments, and I want you to reflect on this because you
You
haven't
said
been.
Cleveland
you
was
have
going to
not,
be Pittsburgh hiatus.
You have not.
Next question.
Yes, I
Next
did.
question.
I did. Don't throw that in my face.
I'm dead.
But when it came to Chicago, now this is also the same lamb that told us not to sleep on Chicago, and Chicago has been tearing it up.
Exactly.
I
And
do
that's
not
correct.
understand
And that's
how,
Once again, I
all
was
of a
right.
sudden, how all of a sudden now the Rams are just going to come in and wash them because they're on a high right now.
Yep.
Chicago's on a high. Like they
A
knocked
big
they
high.
knocked
And that
off
defense is
the Panthers,
good. That
and the
defense is one
Panthers
of the
were
best
playing good.
turnover
They choked.
defenses.
So I'm just saying I don't see that happening.
Tell you why it's going to happen. Okay.
Proceed.
There is
Accurate.
no
Accurate,
there is-
man.
there is no Kittle in that game. The Chicago Bears do not have one player that is unstoppable. We know the 49ers and the Chiefs, they both have unstoppable players. Just like Tom Brady used to have one in Rob Gronkowski. He was unstoppable. Put two people on him. Put two middle. Yeah, it doesn't matter. That's Kittle and that's Kelsey. So the Rams took on the defending NFC champions who went to the Super Bowl and almost beat, by the way, with that defense. They forced multiple turnovers from the best offense in the league last year. And now we're expecting the Rams to beat them, to stomp them into the ground? No, that's not the way that
they're the most
works.
complete team, according to you.
They are the most
So
complete team.
I'm just saying
They are the most
it's
complete
the same
team. And you know what the
way that I
49ers are?
expected.
The 49ers
For-
are a team with one super amazing player. And then their other one got injured. But they're a team with one super amazing player who is healthy and playing right now, and that's
But
Kittle.
so
Garoppolo
let me
is below average, but he has Kittle to throw to.
I get you.
Yeah,
But at the
facts.
same time, they only put up maybe about 23. Was it like 23 points? LA only put up 16. What I'm saying is, if they're a complete team, why can't they put up more than 16 points and steal that game? There's
Especially
offense
when
and defense.
they were
Whoa,
one of
whoa.
the league-leading
16
offenses. Hold on.
16 points on the defending
Hold on.
NFC champs?
Hold
That's
on.
pretty good.
Hold on. No, hold on.
Oh man.
This game last year
Oh man.
put up record numbers with them both scoring 50 points plus.
So what I'm
Just
hearing
saying.
is
And
their
then
defense.
also,
what I hear, their
and
defense
then
improved.
also, the Rams were the highest scoring offensive team as well, and they could only put up 16 points when they essentially almost had the same team.
No, they lost Todd Gurley and Brandon Cooks. They don't have essentially the same team at all.
Brandon Cooks didn't really do a whole lot when he was with the Rams.
What?
Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods stole the show in that.
Brandon Cooks did way more than he's doing right now. Brandon Cooks has had 2 good games with Houston. Just 2. Brandon
And we're
Cooks
only
it was about 87 reception yards every single game last year.
But who was their leading receivers above them? Robert Woods and Cooper
Well,
Kupp.
Cooper Kupp was a monster last season.
And so
He was
wasn't
an
Robert
absolute
Woods.
monster. But it's amazing if you if you have that extra. The only thing better than having 2 good wide receivers is having 3 good wide receivers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Chicago, as good as they are, they do not have any player who's unstoppable. Look at the New Orleans Saints. Michael Thomas,
that
when he
defense
comes
is going to
back,
be all over Jared Goff.
the New Orleans Saints have 1 unstoppable player, Michael Thomas. The Atlanta Falcons have 1 unstoppable player, Julio Jones.
And Calvin Ridley.
So where do you rank? Let me just pivot this a little bit. So where do you rank Chicago's defense and San Francisco's defense? Where do you rank those? Because that's essentially
healthy or
because
current?
essentially currently where they are, because that's the next game coming up for the Rams.
Right.
So where do you rank Chicago's defense in conjunction with San Francisco's defense? Because really that's all we're talking about. Because that's what it's going to come down to, as to whether or not LA is going to be. Because we know that Chicago can put up points, but that's my question. Where do you rank them? Because I do not want to hear an excuse
teams.
if they get beat come Sunday. I do not want to hear an excuse. So I want to know where you feel that they rank now, because I don't want to hear a rebuttal on Tuesday.
You're gonna hear a rebuttal on Tuesday. There's always a reason. There's always a reason that teams lose. There's always a reason. Except for the Green Bay Packers. There was no reason for that.
There was no
excuse for that.
No, not
all 3 of us can find a reason that
game.
anybody loses except for the Packers. I don't understand what that was.
But,
I really don't.
But did I not tell you Packers do Packer things?
True.
I said that last week.
Yes, I don't even like Wisconsin.
They do Packer things. They get you hyped, and then they fall apart. And then you're like, what is that? And then next week they'll play like Super Bowl champs. And it's like, why the up and down?
The Bucks were the same way. Look at the Bucks. The Bucks were the same example.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you the reason why the Bears are gonna lose this game.
Go ahead.
Right? There's only one person who is gonna stop the Bears from winning this game, because the Bears, they're not that bad. All right. So the Bears have beat 1 good football team. Y'all know who that was?
Who was that?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 20-19.
Yeah,
I remember.
That was opening week.
That was which down is it?
Yeah.
What?
Oh no.
Yeah.
That was 2 weeks ago. That was 2 weeks ago.
So technically they didn't even beat him. Tom Brady gave it away because he thought it was one play when it wasn't, and that's Tom Brady. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume, with all his Super Bowl rings, that Tom Brady was gonna win that football game, because that you have to assume that with Tom Brady. I'm sorry.
I guess.
You have to.
Bruce
It's Tom
Arians
Brady.
came out and said that he knew what down it was.
It's Tom Brady, right? So other than that, the Bears have beat the Lions, the Giants, the Falcons, and they've lost to the Colts. So how good is that defense? They're playing trash
I'm asking
teams.
you. I'm
like the
asking
Buffalo Bills. And I'm going to tell you why. Aaron Donald is going to be all over you, Mr. Foles. He is going to be all
just like Khalil Mack's going to be all over Jared Goff. All over him.
Listen.
Come on, bro.
I will give you this, because that is a legitimate claim. It's kind of the similar argument that you made against Cleveland, in the fact that they never really played. Same argument that you made against the Bills.
Yeah.
So I will not discount it, because that has proven to be credible when it came down to them playing teams. But I wanted to gauge where you felt their defense is, because there are certain teams that, when faced against a team that is better, they excel and bring their level of play up, such as what we saw with the Texans and the Titans. They bring their level of play up to match, which is what I was expecting for the Rams against the 49ers. I was expecting for their level of play to go to another level
Right.
because this is essentially a team that you're going to see later. So you don't want to just be like whatever, and give them confidence that they can beat you. But that's why I wanted to ask that question now before the game is played. So when we come back on Tuesday after the game, if they lose, okay, as long as it's not what happened to the Browns and Pittsburgh, we can talk about it. But if
Yeah,
it
no
turns out to
injuries,
be,
just terrible
yeah,
play.
if it turns out to be a Browns versus Pittsburgh type, we don't even have to address it. We could just move on.
Oh, you know it's
Listen,
gonna be
like
addressed
I
though.
no, we don't have to address it. I will never question you ever again, Lamb. You will
You
be
shouldn't
the
already,
honest. You would be
but we
the
gonna
honest
ride with it.
man. You would be the man. I'm just
Yep.
saying because, bro, that took me back. Like when they finally scored a touchdown, I was like, take it off the scoreboard. Just take it
Yep.
off. It's not even
Told you,
worth
bro.
it. Like, what are you doing?
Statistically, Baker Mayfield is the second worst quarterback in the NFL. No, only beaten by Carson Wentz, which
Bro,
that may have flip-flopped this past week because Carson Wentz had a nice
it
game.
it
did.
felt
He
like I
did.
was
So
watching
now
a
Baker Mayfield might
collegiate
be
game.
the worst statistical quarterback in the NFL right now.
It felt like I was watching college. Like I'm not even gonna lie to you. I
It
felt
was
like I was watching
it was
college, and this was like I don't know,
And
freaking
Big Ben didn't
Florida
even
against
flex.
no.
Big Ben
some
didn't even
state
flex.
college.
He could have
Like
flexed. He could have thrown
he
for
could've.
500 yards if he wanted to. He didn't even
Seriously.
flex on him. He
It
didn't
was
even
bad.
flex.
It
Yeah.
was really bad. That was embarrassing. But we'll see if the Bears can match their level of intensity and bring their play up. Because, like you said, they've gotten some. Now, again, it's any given Sunday. Any team can beat any team any given Sunday.
Correct.
But at the same time,
Apparently not. Y'all acting so shocked asking questions about why the Rams lost to the 49ers, to the damn NFC champions.
listen, I have to ask Mr. Stephen A. because
Mr. Stephen A.
I have to ask because listen, you questioned us down about the power rankings and the Rams last week. You were like, "There's no way.
Hey,
Why
y'all
didn't
still
y'all
got time
have
to be
them
right.
up there?
Y'all still got time to
get
be
them
right.
up."
Y'all
And
still got time to prove me horribly
and I'm
wrong.
like, "What?"
It's only week 7. Y'all still got
It
time for
is.
all y'all power rankings
It
to
is.
still be top 3. We still got plenty of time, plenty of
Oh
predictions.
man,
These are early predictions.
this
And as we
is
know,
this
the NFL,
That's true. That's true.
the 2
This
years
is.
that the 2 years that the Giants won the Super Bowl, nobody picked them at the beginning or mid-season. Nobody.
No, nobody.
no. This is true.
Their
'Cause,
defense carried them through those playoffs. Now.
Facts, bro.
big facts.
So, looking at the other games that were respectively played, we have to look at one game that we didn't expect. Atlanta was all over Minnesota, which nobody saw coming.
Do we have to address this? Because
Horrible.
like that, if you're gonna talk about fluke wins,
Nobody
that's
saw
one.
that coming.
That's one way to get your confidence up. Like they literally had the Falcons out there looking like a top tier playoff contending,
Bro.
Super Bowl contending
40
team. I'm like,
points.
what is going
But
on?
who came back? Who came back though? Who came back that game?
Oh my gosh.
That was the return of Julio Jones.
It was. But Calvin really
yeah.
been showing out. He basically
Yeah,
replaced
but-
him with no question.
No, Julio Jones is a different animal. That's
He
a big
is.
boy.
But look who
dog.
Calvin's been mentoring under, though, at the same time. Calvin showed that when Julio was out.
So, with that being said, with Julio coming back, do you think that we will now see a different Falcons team?
Yes.
Oh,
I
by
think
far.
all that talk about Matt Ryan and the coach blah blah blah. No, like I said, if you lose your best football player on your team to injury and you go on a losing streak, what else did you expect to happen?
True.
It's only next man up if you're average. Right? Ain't no next man
They
up
do
for
play
Michael Thomas,
Detroit
bro.
this
Mhm.
week, so that'll be another win for
Ain't no
him, at
next man
least.
up for Julio Jones. You can't have
True.
Michael Thomas go out with injury and then look at Emmanuel Sanders like next man up. Like you're not Michael Thomas, bro. You know what I'm saying? If
Right.
if Devontae Adams goes out, you can't look at Marquez Valdez-Scantling and be like, next man up. Like he's no Devontae Adams.
Right,
Like
right.
I expect teams when their best player, well, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is the best player, but I expect other teams like the Atlanta Falcons when their best player's out, and I don't care what anyone says about New Orleans, Drew Brees is not their best player. It's damn sure Michael Thomas. When you're and Lattimore, when your best player's out, there's no such thing as next man up. I'm sorry. If Tom Brady gets injured, that's the end of the season for the Bucs.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Nope.
It just
This is true.
Dak
I
Prescott's
agree.
gone.
We saw that with Matt
That's the end of the
Castle.
season for
We
the
made the
Cowboys.
playoffs, and that was
That's
it.
Yep. Dak's out. That's the end of the season.
Yep.
Philadelphia Eagles win the NFC East now. Because Carson Wentz is going to start figuring out ways to win. He only needs 4 quarters to warm up. But yeah,
Valid
we're going
points,
to see a different Falcons team because Julio Jones has to draw double coverage, minimum double coverage.
He
I think
does.
Calvin
does.
Ridley's
1v1
almost
him.
in that respectable category too.
And I agree with you, Melby, and that's why they're so dangerous. Because look what Calvin just to back up Melby, look what he's done with Julio out.
Calvin's
He's been the number
gone off.
one for a couple weeks until D-Hop took that over, but he was
Right.
number 1 for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Calvin Ridley's gone
Facts.
off.
And now that Julio Jones is back, that's going to leave Calvin Ridley even more open.
Yep.
This passing offense is going to be stupid dangerous, bro. Stupid dangerous.
You're going to see Matt Ryan throwing for 400 yards again, only because his GM lit a fire under his ass saying that he didn't believe in him and didn't know if he was going to finish out the season or not.
No, just
And
let
now
Julio
that he's
come
got
back.
his number one receiver back and Calvin Ridley's been showing out, that offense about to go off.
Bro, and Todd Gurley does not look bad. Can
No,
we talk about
not
that?
bad at all.
He does
really
not
doesn't.
look bad, bro. He doesn't look bad. They give him the ball and goal line set. That boy's running in for some touchdowns.
Exactly.
Bro.
Hey, by far.
That's all they need him to do. Run in, get a couple third and short first down, so we don't have to go to Julio every single time, and then
he's-
get them goal lines and
he's
punch
such
it
a
in.
difference maker because if
Yeah.
you want to, you can have him carry the load, and he's
Yeah.
gonna open the holes up if you necessarily have to. But you don't need that with the Julio Jones or a Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, no, true
Okay.
that, true that.
I mean, I'm looking forward to it because the reason
know
that I
why they
asked
let
this
Austin
question,
Hooper go.
the reason that I asked this question is because it's shaping up for that division where you have the Falcons, you have the Bucks, you have the Panthers, for it to really start to, and Saints to
And the
really
Panthers
start
don't
looking
look bad.
competitive. Right. So it's going to really start to look
Panthers
competitive.
are terrible.
They are. I mean, I will say this from this aspect. They've been playing decent, but of course, their best player being out, and
Right.
Bridgewater choked. He literally choked.
Choke.
Like they had the game, they had the possession, they had the time, and you throw an interception. Like
Imagine where they'd be at right
there's
now with
nothing.
Christian McCaffrey.
There's nothing else for them to say, bro. Like, what are you doing? This is your moment. Embrace it. Don't throw it away. Like, what?
Bro,
I don't
I'm gonna
know.
go ahead-
I mean,
I'm
this
gonna
is
go
the
ahead
same.
and put the half hoodie on right now.
Yeah, because this is this happened twice. It wasn't just with the Panthers. So the Panthers choked their chance to win away, as well as New England with Cam choked their chance to win away. Both of them had the opportunity to take it home, and they both choked. Like I don't know if it was just Panthers choke job for quarterbacks this week or what, but I'm watching it and I'm like, this is the moment. This is what you do. Nope.
Let me speak to the Panthers head coach Matt Rule real quick because I know you're in stream. Okay, because I know you're in stream. I know you're watching this right now. I can see you in chat, bro. You're
Tips
lurking,
from Lamb.
so I know you're there.
Right.
How do you expect to get better as an organization if you replace the quarterback who led you to the Super Bowl with the exact same type of quarterback with worse injuries? Who's more
Facts.
accident prone?
Facts.
I
True.
don't understand that. Jason said in chat, Teddy Bridgewater's not the answer to any question. 100% correct.
This is
100% correct. You
true. This
don't
is true.
you don't lose let's see who was real accident prone, right? Let's see who was. You don't. If you're the Giants, you don't replace Eli Manning with a worse Eli Manning, and that's what they did in Daniel Jones. That's exactly what the Panthers did. They're like, Cam Newton, you took us to a Super Bowl. You're a league MVP. Let's get someone who's kind of like you, but way worse.
Right.
Okay? This isn't even close. It's like big brother versus little sister. Okay? I didn't even say little brother. Anything Teddy Bridgewater can do,
Right.
Cam Newton can not only do, but he will break Bridgewater's records at it.
This
Push-ups,
is true.
jumping jacks, 40-yard dash, coloring book contest, Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, Trials of Osiris. It's not even close. Cam Newton outdoes you in everything you've ever done, Teddy Bridgewater. So why in the world does the head coach, that's a new head coach of the Carolina Panthers, think that Teddy Bridgewater would be the answer? Getting a worse Cam Newton with worse injuries and more frequent injuries.
So I'm glad
y'all
that you
thinking?
asked, Lamb. I'm glad that you asked. So let me help you to understand, because I've been dealing with this Panthers team since '96. let me just let me just sit up and help you to understand. So here's what happened last year. Last year, Cam Newton got hurt. He tried to fight through it, still wasn't 100%, and all of a sudden, Christian McCaffrey explodes onto the scene, and he's breaking, just really just ripping things apart.
Stanford
Right?
boy. Stanford boy.
So,
Everything and
next thing you
everything.
know,
1,000 on
next
both
thing you
ends.
know, they say to themselves, well, since we have him, why do we need a running quarterback like Cam Newton when we have a running back like Christian McCaffrey?
Maybe
And
because running backs don't ever win Super
Give me a
Bowls
second,
ever.
chat. Let me get another drink.
And so that was the thought. They immediately, while Cam was out, and this is what I watched with, because I also have their page on Instagram, and I watched this happen. They slowly started to separate themselves from Cam Newton. They started only posting like his highlights and all this type stuff. They started boosting him up. You're the face of the franchise and all this type stuff. And soon as the offseason came up, they let Cam go so that they could clear space. They brought in a Bridgewater, but what they were not expecting was the other components to leave. They were not expecting for our defensive juggernaut to say, you know what, I'm retiring and I'm not playing anymore. So all of these things hit them. There was other players that end up leaving the squad, and so now instead of you trying to be proactive and just switch out a quarterback, like the Bridgewater was kind of a back end thought for them. Like they
Right.
just needed a decent quarterback to fill Cam's shoes because they were going to ride Christian through this season.
Oh, they're going to ride him no
And
matter what.
right. And him getting injured kind of turned everything upside down.
He
But
should be back this week or next week at
but
least.
that was their thought process behind them switching out a Cam Newton to get a Teddy Bridgewater. And they did it so disrespectfully that they didn't even let Cam Newton know that he was being let go. They made it seem like he said he wanted to leave when he never said he wanted to leave
They Derrick
Carolina
Rose
because he was the face. Right. He was the face of the franchise.
Right.
So this is not the first time they've done this. They did it with Steve Smith and him finding out from a reporter that he got let go.
Yeah.
They did it. They did it with a couple of our running backs that we had, and not letting them know, and them finding out from so. This team
That's bad
has
management.
a history, right? They have a history
It's
of
been
doing
bad.
stuff like this, and so I don't. I'm happy to see that they're doing better than what I expected them, because I thought this would be a rebuilding year for them, to be honest. With the players that left, the caliber of players that they lost, I thought this would be a rebuilding year. It actually turned out to be a little bit better than what I was expecting, but I don't expect much from Teddy Bridgewater. Like, who is this guy? Like, come on. Like, we're not expecting for Bridgewater to take you to a Super Bowl.
No.
He's not even
He's not going
in
to be
my
that dude.
yeah, he's in my head. He's not even like Jake Delhomme. Like
Yeah.
he's not He's not going to get you there. So they were looking for other components, and let's just be honest. Teddy Bridgewater is a 1 year thing. They're trying to get through this season for them to find them a really good quarterback to replace what they lost with Cam, but they needed the cap space.
Then they
Like,
better stop. Then they better stop winning football games because the
I
Jets, the
mean,
Cowboys, the Giants,
The
they
Jets
might
are
I
all
about
go
know,
ahead
to
and take
trade
that.
Sam Darnold.
I
No,
know,
that'd be the
but you
stupidest
know
thing to
how
ever do.
this
They're trying
season
to get a
goes,
number
man.
one draft pick for him.
By the time we get to halfway through the season, everything changes, and we'll have to see. I mean, it really hinges on how well, once Christian comes back, how well he does, how good. Because that's the thing with running backs. Normally, the first 2 years, like everybody's in awe of you, and then by the third season, defenses have figured you out. So
But that's the thing
it's
with
kind of one of
Christian, though.
those.
They're not going to
Yeah, it's
figure out
like
Christian. He's a different type of person.
Yeah,
yeah, so it's one of those things where we have to see what defensive schemes that they're going to run against, and if people start to figure out his play style and be able to shut him down. Like it's just I don't really see much from them, but I think that the division is getting a little more spicy for the fact that now Atlanta's getting back into the game. You got Tampa trying to step their game up. New Orleans is doing what New Orleans always does, so that division looks a little bit better. But yeah, I have no faith in the Panthers at all. I feel like they should have just tanked the season and waited to get better picks because they needed both on offense and defense. But that's just me.
Oh, losing Luke Kuechly and retiring early was very upsetting for you guys.
yeah.
That's an understatement. I literally cried.
I could
Yes.
I
imagine.
literally cried.
I
Like,
could imagine.
yo, you have so many years before you. You are like you're. We haven't seen a talent like yours since freaking John Lynch was out there popping people and just clogging up lanes
Dude
and
led the
doing
league in tackles every year, and he was in 90% of the plays on
Every year that
defense.
Ray Lewis
exactly.
or Urlacher wasn't in the league, correct?
I was not expecting
Dude
for
was a
him to
different
cash it
person.
in.
It's only because he
But
had so many concussions.
this is true. But normally the heavy hitters tend to run that risk of having the helmet to helmet contact
Right.
because they're flying to the ball. So I get it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about him because he don't want to live the rest of his life and have to deal with the repercussions of that. So I get why he left. It's just that was heartbreaking because he was so young. Like
It,
we ain't talking about a 30-plus-year-old player. Like he was, this man was like 23, 24.
he was
Like
in
Yeah.
the league for like, I think he was in the league for 6 years, 7 years max.
yeah, like he was still a young player. Like
It was very
that was
unfortunate.
tough. That was tough.
Going into this week, some big key factors going into this week. There's a lot of good games going on this week, actually. You got Pittsburgh and Tennessee guys, both undefeated teams. Probably going to be game of the week as well. That game is going to be on point. Tennessee's been good on both sides of the ball. Pittsburgh's been good on both sides of the ball, but they also just lost their linebacker in Devin Bush. He ended up tearing his ACL this past Sunday, so he's done for the year. So that's a big miss on their defense, even though their defense is really good. But missing that kind of piece in the center of your defense is going to be a hard hole to replace, especially a dude like Devin Bush, because he's all over the place. Tennessee's been playing really good. I was actually talking with Kevin earlier about Ryan Tannehill. Dude didn't do anything with anybody and anybody in the entire years that he was with Miami. Comes to Tennessee, gets a head coach of Mike Vrabel, and the last year and a half, the dude's been probably a top 10 quarterback in the league. That dude's showing out, and he's leading Tennessee to deep runs into the playoffs, and now he's led them to a 5-0 start in the beginning of the season. Tennessee's a respectable team, if not one of the top 2 teams in the NFL right now, with, of course, being Pittsburgh as well. And both of those teams matching up this week is obviously the game of the week. And I want to get your guys' take, especially on this game, because this game's going to be hard to decide. It's going to be very hard to decide.
I'm gonna defer to the man of truth to speak first, and then I'll follow after. I don't want to discredit.
He's trying to wait so I can say something so he can go against it, Chad. He's trying to go against
Think it's smart, Chad.
Go ahead, bro.
Think it's smart, Chad. Now, hold on. The Shady. Which one are we going to get? Are we going to get Lamb? Or are we going to get Lamont?
We there's a possibility we could see an appearance of Lamont. There's a possibility.
You're about to get the Titan, bro. We're gonna get Titans in here, baby. Let's go. All right. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and talk about Ryan Tannehill. All right. And let me tell you why he couldn't do anything with Miami. Miami did not give him an offensive line, and they did not give him a running back.
And that's exactly what me and Kevin talked about. And head coach.
Man. It's so easy to throw the ball and run the ball when you have an offensive line. Oh, my gosh. People still don't realize that the offensive line means everything, bro. If your quarterback has a second and a half, look at Andy Dalton. He couldn't breathe. He didn't even have 3 seconds. And when you play quarterback, you go shotgun or you have a 3-step throw or a 5-step throw. That's it. All right? That is it. So you hut 1, 2 on that 3rd step back, you throw the ball, or it's 5. Hut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, throw, or you just start in the shotgun. He didn't even have enough time for a 3-step draw. Buda Baker and the whole defensive line was in his face as soon as he hiked the ball. Like it was ridiculous. So Ryan Tannehill's playing like Ryan Tannehill's always been capable of playing if he was provided tools around him.
True.
Now there's some quarterbacks who are trash even with tools around them, but we're not gonna talk about those yet. So with the Tennessee Titans versus Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm not gonna lie. This is a hard one.
It's going to be a very tough game to pick.
This is a hard one, and I'm going to tell you who my pick is going to be for this. I'm going to have to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm going to tell you why. Here's the things that I went over in my head. We haven't seen a running back as dominant as Derrick Henry in the league for a very, very This man can go out and rush for 200 yards like it's no thing. 3 or 4 touchdowns like it's no thing. He's in the MVP conversation over quarterbacks right now, for Christ's sake.
Unheard
of. That's unheard of, bro.
The last person since Adrian Peterson.
Yeah. Him and Christian McCaffrey, even last year, were in the conversations for MVP, bro. Like, yikes. So when you have a running back that is that talented, it's impressive. And the fact that Melby just said Devin Bush, what is he in his sophomore year? Is he in his sophomore year right now or junior year? No, he's in his sophomore year.
He's in a sophomore year.
Yeah, he's in a sophomore year. Their first round draft.
He's probably their second best defensive player on that team behind TJ Watt.
Correct. I might even put him above TJ Watt. Devin Bush, he's faster.
But you got to look where TJ plays. He's on the line at all times.
Yeah, but JJ Watt was on the line as well.
Yeah, JJ Watt also plays inner instead of outer.
JJ Watt is one of the best defensive linemen we've ever seen in the game.
Facts.
We can't even compare TJ to him, honestly.
No.
My bad.
Not yet.
So
TJ's only been in the league for 3 years.
True that. So with him being out, I just see Derrick Henry eating so much more. But Ben Roethlisberger has been here before.
He's been utilizing that offense like no other, too. Yeah. Juju's been in no conversation the last 2 weeks.
Ryan Tannehill has not. And I will take Big Ben Roethlisberger over Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. So I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers because of Big Ben Roethlisberger himself. That's my pick.
Okay. Where you at, High?
Show me what you got, High. Show me what you got.
Where you at?
It's crazy. This is actually the first time that I will say that I agree with Lamb. Because I was sitting here and it word for word, like I'm sitting here and I'm like, bro, that's a hard game to call because
this might be one of the hardest games to pick this year.
Yeah, they've been balling. Both teams have been balling, and it's just Pittsburgh is one of those teams that, unlike what we've seen with Green Bay and various teams, when they get rolling, they don't fall apart.
No.
The going gets hard. Roethlisberger finds a way. You know, whether he has to run it, whether he has to, toss it, dump up, like he figures out a way. He's from that era of quarterbacks that, the John Elways that would just figure out a way to get the possession going. So when it comes to like the type, they haven't really faced a team with a quarterback that's willing to put everything on the line. And so this is a big test for them. But at the same time, when you got a running back like Henry that is basically defacing the league every time he plays a team, it's kind of one of those things. We could either see on when they play that they really miss that defensive person they lost, or we can see somebody else step up and they facilitate and try to hold him. I won't say that he won't get 100 yards, but if they're able to keep him within 100 yards, they put themselves in a better position to win that game. So
and
it's
also,
gonna be,
I agree.
We agree that the Steelers are better than the Texans. Look how many points the Texans put on.
right.
Exactly.
So that's another thing where I'm like,
Pittsburgh's a different team than the
looks
Texans.
Sus on the Titans. That defense looks sus. The fact that they can do that without D-Hop,
yeah,
with Brandon Cooks and David Johnson, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
a little sus.
It's out, and like I said, it's one of those things that you almost want to say, I don't want to pick a side. I just want to see them play. Like I just want to see it play out, and then go. That was freaking amazing.
And
that's
why I wanted to point out that Devin Bush injury too, is because he's their play caller in that center of that defense. So with him being out and that hole being opening up, that's Derrick Henry's gonna have a field day, no matter what. I think.
All I'm gonna say is that the tide will turn if he gets a stiff arm on somebody like he did against the Bills. That will be the turning point. But then the teams will be afraid to attack him head up because they don't want to be on ESPN Sports Center. Flying through the air.
He's gonna end up trucking some people this game, and because Pittsburgh's a hard hitting team, they always have been.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is going to come out and they're going to try to take that ball from Derrick Henry. They have a better coach in Mike Tomlin. They have a better quarterback in Big Ben Roethlisberger. They have a better wide receiver in Juju Smith-Schuster. They have a good dual head running back with Snell,
I just
and
pointed out.
Conner.
Juju hasn't been a factor the last two games.
Yeah,
Big Ben's been utilizing the other two receivers in Claypool and James Washington.
But remember, in football, it's just like basketball. Melby, if you have a 40-point game in basketball, now they're watching you, and that's going to leave somebody else open all game.
Facts.
Yep. It's like Tim Duncan's last 2 years in the NBA. He did crap for us. But because he's Tim Duncan, they had to double team him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The other key thing about this, though, is that Tennessee's defense is underrated. Tennessee's defense is capable of turning over that ball, especially in the secondary. That secondary doesn't play lightly. They like to they're very rough, to say the least. So
I don't. Ah, man.
my pick's gonna be rough.
Yeah, who are you going? You're going with Tennessee or Pittsburgh, Melvin?
I hate Pittsburgh. I'm not a Pittsburgh fan. I'm
Oh,
not.
you can't be biased though.
I'm not a Pittsburgh fan. I'm really not. And for me to put them in my top 3 last week was hard for me.
It was.
It was hard.
I
Very
heard
hard.
the.
But they're good.
They are.
But with
But this
like
is
I
both of
said,
their
with the
first best.
factor of them losing Devin Bush, that's going to open up that defense. Uh, if Derrick Henry has a field day, that's going to change the whole outcome of this game.
Yeah, the way Tennessee wins this game is by getting the ball first, choosing not to defer, getting the ball first,
If Derrick
and
Henry
running
can put Pittsburgh
slowly
in a hole
down the field.
early, it'll change the outcome of that game.
They're gonna have to wear that defense of Pittsburgh out, but
Exactly, and
Pittsburgh
Derrick
defense,
Henry is very capable of doing that.
the only thing is on the other side, Big Ben can go down in 48 seconds and score a touchdown all the way downfield.
Exactly, and that rookie
be-
wide receiver has been showing out the last 3 weeks, and even if man, they got they're good on both sides of the ball.
This is literally an offense versus offense style of game.
I'm gonna have to say Pittsburgh in this one, and it's not gonna be by much. And it's not gonna be very high scoring.
Turnover can.
I'm gonna say 28-24 Pittsburgh.
Yeah, one turnover changes this entire game.
I'm gonna say 28-24 Pittsburgh. Literally, this is like we were just talking about. This is probably the hardest game of the year to pick. The hardest game of the year to pick.
Yeah.
There is a couple of other good games that are on this week. Arizona did come out and show that they may be respectable again.
No,
we just talked about Kenyon Drake last week. How we haven't seen anything from him yet this year, and then he comes out and has a 100+ yard game and shows out. And
on the worst defense in the league.
Hey, that's okay. That's a confidence booster.
Yeah, that one of them.
It's a big confidence booster.
Hey, Arizona played a flag football team yesterday.
But they got Seattle this week, who's also the other undefeated team besides Pittsburgh and Tennessee Titans.
This game is going to be a flipping shootout. Seattle versus Arizona. Oh my gosh, bro!
If Arizona can move the ball like they did this past weekend and utilize their weapons like they did, instead of not only using DeAndre Hopkins, moving the ball around, getting Kenyon Drake involved, getting Christian Kirk involved. Christian Kirk had a field day last week. So if they can utilize that and break Seattle down, you've said it all year long, Lamb. Seattle's defense is not good.
That's why it's going to be a shootout, bro. But
Seattle's defense is not good.
Calf and DeAndre Hopkins. It's going to be a great, fun, exciting game to watch, baby.
It is.
It's going to be a game to watch.
Can Arizona upset Seattle and put them at a 1 loss?
D-Hop versus DK Metcalf. Man, I cannot wait to see what they do on offense, bro.
We watched that when the Patriots' 1 loss was the Bucks. Any given Sunday, it can happen. It depends on it just depends on the game plan. If they're able to execute their game plan, they may be able to. I mean, it's a long shot because you got one team that is highly confident, that's riding, hasn't been beat. And then you got another team that hasn't really had the best start to the year, but they got a good confidence boost in last week's game. So you got two confident teams going into it. It just depends on who buckles first.
It is, and
I still take Russell.
Arizona lost a key piece in their defense this past week too. Chandler Jones is out for probably the rest of the year. He tore his bicep. He had surgery on that over the weekend, or pretty much right after the game.
We all know Seattle should not be defeated as well. Should not be undefeated.
They shouldn't be, and that's why I'm questioning this game. Can Arizona put up the question mark and maybe upset Seattle this week?
Well, that's the thing. Like we're not really. The question isn't about the defense. We're not talking about Arizona's defense. We're talking about Seattle's
Russell.
defense. We're talking about
Russell.
all. We're
That's
so
what we're
it
talking
comes down to who's going to put up the most amount of points to
about.
pull this.
And they're both good on the offense, very good on the offense, and who exactly is Patrick Peterson going to be on? Is it going to be DK Metcalf or is it going to be Tyler Lockett?
He's got to be on DK. He has to be. DK is, and I think DK's going to.
Geek brings up a good question too. With Chandler Jones being out and out the rest of the year, pretty much, who's got the better defense?
I have the better defense.
I have the better defense.
I have better defense in my backyard.
For real. Defense in Hiatus's backyard. That's the best defense. It's defense in his backyard. Yeah, this game is going to be. There's going to be no defense. It's going to be like Tennessee versus Houston, no defense. Minnesota versus Atlanta, no defense.
No defense. Yep.
None.
And that's what I was saying. I mean, throughout up till now, we have never once spoken about defense for Seattle. We've never once spoken about defense for Arizona, even with them losing a key component. That's not the. It's really about the offense. It's the way that they're constructed is, can I outscore you? Because I know defensively I can't rely on my defense to stand up and hold you, but offensively, can I put up enough points to get me that W? And that's what it's going to come down to. So,
and the other thing that's going to be really interesting is that you got both quarterbacks that can extend the play, move the ball around, and also run.
Exactly.
A goldfish.
That's the best defense.
Are you sharing them fishies?
Show it again.
Give some fishies, man. Come on.
We just found the best defense for Seattle and Arizona. He's about to open the pack right now.
Let's go.
And the best offense when it was Marshawn Lynch's case were Skittles.
Yeah.
Let me bring up a topic really quick.
Hit it.
Dang-a-lang, I know you're in chat.
He's lurking. He's doing some help, so I'm not sure if he's currently lurking. I know he's lurking, but I don't know if he's got comms on.
I know you're a Dolphins fan, and you keep saying, what about them Dolphins? So let me ask you something. You have a winning team with a winning record.
We were going to get to this topic. If you're going to bring up Tua, hold on. That's our next topic, actually.
In a division that's sus, why would you replace your winning quarterback who's been kind of above average? Who does that?
And we had this discussion. I actually had this discussion with them on comms before we started podcast.
Who does that? You know what, Tom Brady? Go ahead and have a seat. We're going to bring in... I don't even know who the Bucs' backup quarterback is. So, like, who does that? You know what I mean? Go ahead and have a seat there, Josh Allen. We're gonna bring in your backup, Patrick Mahomes. You know what? Go ahead. You know you're not starting next week. What? What are you talking about?
You just paid me $500 million. What do you mean?
I don't understand.
But see, that brings up a question. So, being that they made this choice and switching over quarterbacks, do you think that they are basically turning it in for them to get better in the offseason? Or was this a functional choice that they made thinking that it was going to better the team?
And this also brings up a good topic, too. Did you look to see how happy Fitzpatrick was on the sideline when Tua got his opportunity to go into that game? No, like, unbelievably. Fitzpatrick was jumping up and down with joy on the sideline and smiling.
Yeah, so was that overdoing it?
Right,
He
exactly.
was
Right.
truly happy for the dude. Like,
I
cause no,
mean,
legit. Like, he just came back from a very serious injury. If you think about it, he hasn't played a
Ooh.
down since, and then he got drafted very high in the draft as well. So this is a very beginning step for Tua at the same time as well. So being a guy like Fitzpatrick, being in the league for so long already, he said it himself. He almost retired a couple years ago. If it wasn't for the opportunities and people actually needing quarterbacks. So with Tua actually getting this opportunity and being able to come in, and like I said, he was drafted high. He got drafted the number 6 draft pick by the Miami Dolphins in this year's draft. So for him to come in and finally be healthy after a very serious injury and having a pretty much a broken hip. He dislocated it. They didn't know if he was going to be able to even come back and play football again, let alone come back, be drafted, and be where he's at now. So that is a very good question. Are they hanging it up and being like, we're just going to ride this dude for the rest of the year? Or is Tua really back and they're going to give him the opportunity and Tua is going to be Tua and we're going to see an actually decent young quarterback?
Because the reason that I pose this question is because we've seen this before. Normally, it doesn't happen this early. Normally, this is decisions that are made like week 10.
Right, and the only reason we saw it with Herbert is because of the unfortunate event that happened with Tyrod Taylor.
Right. So normally, when you see a change of the guard like this, where you're giving over keys to the team to another quarterback, is so that that quarterback, especially being new, can get experience, game time experience to kind of set them up for next year. They're not really worried about this year, so it's like let's get them in, let's get them acclimated. Win, lose, draw. We're not really we don't have any expectations at this moment, but for them to do it so early in the season, it's like is this the white flag y'all throwing up, or like are y'all serious and you're trying to pull one of these old school riverboat run plays and go let's change it up, let's do something unexpected. Like I really don't know the thought behind it, because we talked about injuries before. Anytime you have someone that has an injury and then they come back, especially football, you're kind of hobbled a little bit mentally. You don't want to be injured. You don't want to get hurt again. So, you see a defense rushing in, you're more inclined to just get, intentional grounding calls because you're just like, get away from me. So it's like, what about his progression made them say, no, he's ready to go. Let's do this.
to me, it brings up a couple of questions. First of all, let me go ahead and address Mr. Ryan Fitzpatrick right now, because I know you're listening to this podcast.
And the
I
Dolphins
know
have a
you're
bye
in
week
chat
this
right now.
week too, guys. So that's
I know
another
you're
interesting
lurking.
case on how they made that decision so early.
There ain't no way in heaven or hell that any starting NFL player is so happy to get benched and replaced by the younger guy who's literally going to end their entire career that he's
Literally,
jumping up
look at
and
the
down
video. He
on the
was
sideline.
jumping up and down on the sideline, literally
No, bro,
happy for the dude.
I've been happy for my exes when they move on as well. But guess what? They shouldn't buy it. Okay? I don't buy it. So that's number one. Number two, what is your organization thinking if you're winning games and your quarterback is playing at a level above what you expected to bench him and bring someone in cold?
Well, and that's the other thing. You bring that up. They're only one game behind the division lead in the AFC East currently.
Then why change?
One game.
That's why I said it raises more questions than can be answered, because there had to be something. Maybe it's something that we didn't see because, again, we're not at practices and all that type of stuff. There had to be something.
I'm going to tell you what it is.
Made them say, this is the best choice that we need to make. Something they saw. because
Oh.
otherwise it is an utter mistake.
Well, and that's the other thing. Tua only had 2 minutes of gameplay at the end of that game and only threw 2 passes. Yeah, he
He
completed
shouldn't have
both
been
of
in
them.
there. He shouldn't have been in there. Let me tell you what you do if you're an NFL team in desperate need for a quarterback to where you draft one in the first round. First thing you do is you play him. Sam Darnold played. Baker Mayfield played. Joe Burrow's playing right now. That's what you do. If you're desperate enough as an NFL organization to take a quarterback in the first round, he's going to play football. But if you drafted one who's accident prone or who had an accident that could have ended his career, and you're already not that far behind in the league, as Melby just pointed out, and you're winning football games, there's only one reason that you start Tua Tagovailoa. Money. Your fans are crying out. His fans are crying out. We want to see him. I bet he has the #1 jersey sales in Miami. We already had that conversation a few podcasts ago where he has a top 3 selling jersey in the NFL, Tua Tagovailoa, right behind Tom Brady's Buccaneers jersey or whatever. I said at some point, the fans are going to demand that you play Tua Tagovailoa. It happened with Johnny Manziel.
Yep.
True.
At some point, everyone was like, put in Johnny football, put in Johnny football. It happens with a lot of young talent out there. So it's time that they play him. I thought it would be sooner than this because remember when we did the first one, I said it won't be a matter of time before after week 3, Fitzpatrick's going to go out there and stink it up and throw 3 picks in 1 quarter.
I said
and
by
then we're
week
going to see
5 he was
Tua.
going to get the opportunity. So I was
That's what we predicted.
I was 2 weeks shy because technically they don't play this week. They're on a bye week this week and they play next week.
Yeah,
So it's weird that they make that decision so soon before their next game as well.
Money, bro. It's money.
I mean,
there's no football reason to bench Fitzpatrick.
No,
right?
none.
There's
none
no football reason.
That is the
none whatsoever. Fitzpatrick's been playing good.
Mm-hmm.
He's led you guys to 1 game behind the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. You're in conference-wise, you're currently in the playoff running almost. You're tied with the Las Vegas Raiders and pretty much the Indianapolis Colts. I mean,
but no one in that division has some huge domination. You know what I mean? Like that's a everything up for grabs division.
Wide open.
Yeah, like the NFC East, like anybody.
We're probably not even going to finish with a 500 record this year because of our schedule.
And because your team is trash like mine is.
It is, and that's because half of our players sat out this year.
Yeah, all of our players are injured.
Half of our players sat out because of COVID this year.
Game 1, our best players went out, bro. Game 1.
Which actually, that's another decent game this week. Actually, is a San Francisco game in New England. Can New England rebound and actually win a game this week?
Were they playing San Francisco?
San Francisco, who just beat up on your LA Rams.
No, I only have one football team, and it's the Dallas Football Cowboys. And they're the worst team. They're the second worst team and third worst team in the league right now. It is not my Rams.
And then
I just respect the talent that they have.
There's 2 other good games on this week as well. You got Tampa Bay and Las Vegas, and then you got Chicago and LA. Which we brought up that Chicago and LA Rams game. I believe that's going to be a very good game. I'm picking Chicago.
Already picked the Rams.
I'm going to go with the Rams.
I know you're already picking the Rams.
Alex, what is the LA Rams for 400, please?
I'm picking the Rams. And then in that Tampa Vegas game, I'm picking the upset. I'm picking the Raiders. If the Raiders can upset Kansas City, they can beat Tampa. If they can upset Kansas City, they can beat Tampa.
What is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the win?
Bro, can I just say this?
Kansas City has no defense.
The Raiders have not recovered since losing to the Bucks in the Super Bowl.
They haven't. We've talked about this.
And now you have the Bucks, because Rob Gronkowski is back, playing like a Super Bowl caliber
But
team.
you also have a counterpart on that in Darren Waller. Who's going to
I'm
stop
just
Darren Waller on that Tampa Bay defense?
Do not be surprised
I will tell you.
if they
There is
beat.
nobody stopping Darren Waller.
So all right, so so let's ask this question.
Nobody is stopping Darren Waller.
So let's ask this question. If Green Bay was playing the Raiders, would you go with the Raiders or would you go with Green Bay?
I'm going with the Raiders.
Before
Just
they
because Josh Jacobs can pretty much counterpart Aaron Jones. And we've known that. Josh Jacobs is a top 5 running back in the league currently. And then you got Darren Waller, who's a top 3 tight end in the league, behind George Kittle and Travis Kelce.
I just believe that the defense for Tampa is way better than defense is for the Chiefs, and that's going to be problematic
That
for the
Raiders
Raiders.
defense is very underrated. They're very young and they're still learning.
Mm-hmm.
But for them to show up like that and make that adjustment against Pat Mahomes and to be able to stop Pat Mahomes like that.
Listen, Melvin, it's not hard to stop Mahomes. All they have to do is step back coverage. Let's not overextend that. You're not going to be able to do that against Brady.
But the Tampa, their offensive line is showing suspect. Brady's been sacked multiple times.
Good thing they have Tom Brady.
That Raiders defense is fast and young. They're gonna give Brady some pressure, and Brady's showing suspect for throwing pick sixes and turning over the ball this year.
But if Rob Gronkowski is gonna do what he did against Green Bay, that's gonna be a problem for the Raiders, because that means that check down is always there.
Also, the Raiders have lost to every team with the defense that they played this year. They've lost to the Patriots. They've lost to the Buffalo Bills. They've beat the teams that don't have a defense. Carolina Panthers, Kansas City Chiefs, and the New Orleans Saints.
But Tampa Bay hasn't had a defense up until this past week.
That defense stopped the best quarterback in the NFL.
And so didn't the Raiders. The Raiders stopped the best quarterback in the NFL.
We're talking. We're not talking about. No, we're we're talking about.
I was waiting for Lamb to catch it.
We're talking about.
Oh my God!
Tom Brady versus Derek Carr.
Oh man,
that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
That's true.
We know the Raiders are gonna score. It's not gonna be a shutout.
No,
right.
But the literal conversation is Tom Brady versus Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is not a simp, right? Like, he's not a slump. He can throw 330, 3 touchdowns if he wants to.
And Henry Ruggs has been showing out for him the last couple of weeks too.
That's true, but I'll take Mike Evans and Tom Brady.
I can get that.
I'm just saying, bro. I just can't. I can't say.
But
I think it'll.
In this case, I got another question.
They stopped Aaron
Leonard
Jones
Fournette is still currently
and Aaron
out.
Rodgers.
Leonard Fournette is still currently out. Who are you taking a running back? Ronald Jones, or are you taking Josh Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs, 100%. That's not even a question.
So as your
Tom Brady can score in 18 seconds, all the way down the field.
Okay, I can give you that.
Tom Brady has Rob Gronkowski.
But Rob's had one good game this year.
Listen.
I understand it's Rob.
How many
I
Super Bowls
do.
is Tom Brady in?
I have his Super Bowl 50 jersey hanging right here above me.
We can't do that.
Is Aaron Rodgers a better quarterback than Derek Carr? Is Aaron Jones a better running back than Josh Jacobs? Because they stopped
Aaron
them
Jones
like
and
they were
Josh
nothing.
Jacobs are pretty.
They're
Josh Jacobs is
correct.
Good.
Correct. No, they're both neck and neck. Exactly what you said. And what happened to Aaron Jones?
He got shut the hell out.
Yep. What happened
Josh
to Aaron
Jacobs
Rodgers?
isn't gonna
Even
let that happen.
more importantly, Aaron Rodgers
I know.
got
That still
shut down.
surprised me. That really still surprised me. But like I said, who's gonna stop Darren Waller?
The same people who stopped Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers.
But that's
Probably
a
the
different
same
story.
squad.
You're talking about the top 3 tight end of the league, who is just like George Kittle and Travis Kelce. He's an unstoppable force. He is gonna get his receptions.
No.
He is gonna get his yards. It's
No.
been proven.
There's
the last
only
year and a half.
2 tight ends that are
No.
unstoppable forces.
No.
There is only
Look
2.
at Darren Wallace's stats
Titus.
the last year and a half, please and thank
Titus.
you.
If
Please do it. They've
you gotta
even
have-
brought this conversation up in recent weeks.
You gotta have more wins. You gotta have more wins if you're unstoppable.
Yeah,
That doesn't
Unstoppables
matter.
than just
Dude's
above
getting
average
the
or
ball
good.
no matter what.
No, you
Listen,
gotta have more wins to be unstoppable, bro.
I mean, we gotta look at.
If you
like,
look at his losses and still look at his receptions and yards,
That don't
his
mean nothing. Look at the Falcons with Calvin Ridley.
but his stats alone prove that he is the number 3 tight end in the league. Easily,
Yeah.
hands down.
and I
It's a
get
game
what
and
you're
it's not
saying,
close.
Melby, but at the same time, like we watched a year where Drew Brees threw 300 plus yards a game, and they didn't make it make it deep in the playoffs. Like, yeah, that looks good on stats, but what does it do when it puts points on the board? And if that defense plays like they did last week,
But that's
it's gonna
also the other thing. This is also in the middle of the season. It's not time crunch time yet.
it wasn't time crunch time when they played against the Green Bay
it,
Packers.
it wasn't. It
But
wasn't.
they still,
But we
so
also
Jordan-
stated that Green Bay's defense is, we're not sure if they're underrated or we're not sure if they're exactly good yet or not. We stated that last week. So
This-
we were kind of unsure about that at the same time.
Well, we're sure now.
Yeah, by far.
the defense really wasn't the question because they got beat on offense and defense.
Yes.
It wasn't one sided.
Yeah, they got shut out on both sides of the ball.
So if we have a team such as the Raiders, and we can look at so far this year that whenever they play against good defensive teams, that they struggle, that's going to be a problem because you're not dealing with the regular quarterback at the helm. So if it comes down to game, I mean, again, nobody's saying that they're going to blow out the Raiders, but let's say that it gets down and it's a 24-21 type game, and Brady gets the ball. You already know what time it is. You know what's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
So it just, when you look at the fact of they've struggled against defensive teams, and you see that Tampa has now kind of stepped into, we're playing defense, like we're not playing around, because when they lost to Chicago, they played great defense. Like that, they kept them in check when they played against Chicago.
Right.
They lost it off of whatever was going on. But you know, even when they played against New Orleans, their defense was intact. The problem was Brady wasn't acclimated to the system, so he wasn't putting up the scores. There wasn't enough pressure applied to New Orleans, so they could have their record would be a lot higher than what it is if they were more comfortable. What we seen last week was them kind of stepping into their own. If they continue to play at that level, it's a problem. It's a problem. Nobody in their division is going to be able to see them if they're able to play great defense and great offense. That is just what it is. And even with the Raiders, like, I love what's happening. I love to see them shake it off and get out of the funk that they were in, but I just do not see them being able to do what they did against the Chiefs. Like, I don't see them doing that to the Chiefs again the next time they play.
No, it won't happen because they're only capable of it once per year against the Chiefs.
Right.
That's the way it's been happening the last few years.
Exactly.
Tom Brady.
So when you factor it all in, like, I would
just the way Brady's been playing this year and how
every
suspect he has been so far, especially this year. Brady hasn't thrown more pick sixes to begin the year than he has in his career so far. So as suspect as he has been, and how
Interceptions only mean
capable
something when the
of
opponent scores off of it.
how capable of that offense is being able to be penetrated and to be able to get to Brady. Like I said, that Raiders defense is good and they're young, so you know they're gonna bring the heat. You know Gruden's gonna bring the heat.
He has to bring the heat. Like here's what you do if you're on a
Can't
football
play
team,
coverage
right?
against Tom Brady.
Like
That's not.
No, he's gonna bring the heat. He's gonna bring the pressure under him.
If you sit back, Tom Brady will pick you apart all day long.
Yep.
But also, if you blitz, he's gonna find the mismatch. He's gonna find the open man as well. So what do you do against Tom Brady? This is a man who went into the first half of the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons and looked like the Dallas Cowboys do right now. Okay? Made adjustments at halftime and made the Falcons look like the Cowboys do now.
Yeah, this is true.
It's all about adjustments. Tom Brady is football smart. Every defense in the league wants to get to the quarterback quick and often. Every defense in the league. There's a problem, though. That works on the majority of quarterbacks all over the world. But then you have those Tom Brady's, those Drew Breeses, those Patrick Mahomeses, those, aside from last week, those Aaron Rodgers, who you can blitz them all game, and it might work for a little bit, but guess what? Try to keep doing that to Big Ben Roethlisberger. Try to keep on doing that. Keep on. I'll even give Baker Mayfield some credit here. I'll even give him some credit because at some point, Odell Beckham's going to catch that deep ball for 70-something yards and a touchdown. At some point, he's going to catch it. It might take 4 quarters to do it, but at some point, he's going to catch it. You keep blitzing Baker, at some point, he's going to lob that ball all the way downfield, and they're going to score a touchdown. So how do you stop Tom Brady? He's come back in Super Bowls that he was getting destroyed in. It was a joke. It was like a joke. I just don't know how you stop him. I don't.
I'm just picking that as my upset this week. That's gonna be my upset this week. That's my one upset this week. And you remember I picked that Kansas City and Raiders game, and I picked that upset correctly.
Even blitz because you can't leave Mike Evans in single coverage. He's either going to catch
that's
the
the
ball
same thing.
or it's going to be defensive passing interference.
The Raiders adjusted and looked the way they dropped into coverage against Mahomes. They could do the same thing against Brady. The same exact thing against Brady.
Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady are two different things. If you drop back into coverage,
but also
on Tom
look
Brady,
who beat Brady to go to the Super Bowl and win his first championship. Who's
the running back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Ronald Jones.
Sit back in coverage if you want to.
Watch me work.
The Chiefs had a rookie running back that got a fire lit under his butt once Patrick Mahomes called Andy Reid and said, "Get us Le'Veon." Then look what Clive Edwards, whatever Lear did.
Go out.
Once you get that replacement there, bro, because once that rookie gets benched and Le'Veon comes in, Le'Veon's going to play the rest of the season.
No,
you know
it. It is not happening. Le'Veon's not taking that starting role.
No. I'm saying, not anymore. But sometimes you use a guy to motivate the others. There's an episode of King of the Hill where Bobby Hill got to join the track team, and coach would threaten the good players and say, "Hill's going to run for you. Hill's going to shot put for you," and they would get last place. And then they started working harder. All right, Le'Veon Bell is that guy. Look what Clive did, bro. But Ronald Jones, he has experience in the league. I believe he's like the 5th fastest player in the NFL, bro. The 5th fastest player in the NFL is Ronald Jones. Sit back in coverage on Tom Brady if you want to. He's gonna hit that. He's gonna hit that check down man, and that check down man's gonna run for at least 6 yards every single time. By the time they get to him,
I'm picking that upset this week. That's my upset.
Woo!
That's my upset.
I'll be texting.
That is my upset.
Tell me what's going on, bro.
I'm not gonna text him. I'm just gonna FaceTime him. I'm gonna be just like this.
Look, I might have to do that too.
I'm just gonna FaceTime him.
So, like we were talking about earlier, our power rankings are all over the place now.
All
Completely
messed up.
changed. Like,
Yep.
not even the same anymore, remotely close.
Oh.
Not even remotely close.
Now, Melvin, we got to do 3 for the NFC, 3 for the AFC, and then top 3 overall.
Okay. Break it down, Lamb. Who you got?
All right. So, actually, I don't even care about the number 2 and 3. I'm just going to give y'all my number 1 in the NFC and my number 1 in the AFC. Right? Because 2 and 3 don't matter. If you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby mentality.
Number 1 in the NFC.
Want to say hi?
I'm going to go with the Rams.
He's still stuck on this Rams.
Well, hey, there is no team in the NFL that's going to go undefeated. There's no team in the NFL that's going to go undefeated.
No, it's not going to happen.
There's no team in the NFL that's going to go defeated. Seattle will fall just like Green Bay fell.
I'm thinking Seattle falls this weekend against Arizona.
That could be a possibility. That could be a possibility.
I'm thinking it happens.
But I'm still going to go with the LA Rams. They have a consistent...
They're losing against Chicago this weekend.
4,000-yard quarterback. They have a consistent top passing offense. They have a consistent great defense every single year.
They're losing.
I have to ride with them because they're the balanced team. Good defensive line, good offensive line, and they don't make a lot of turnovers. And they're a low penalized team too. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are actually the most penalized team in the league, I believe.
This is true.
Yeah.
Last week.
Yep. And in the AFC, the big AFC, I am going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. We're back.
What?
We're back.
Whoa.
We're back.
Holy wow.
We're back.
Wow.
What was the number one reason I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers for 2 weeks in a row as number 1 in the AFC? Who's injured now?
Devin Bush.
That's a huge loss. That's like the 49ers losing Nick Bosa. That's a huge loss. That's like Seattle, Bobby Wagner's out. That's a huge loss. That's not minimal. That's a huge deal. That guy's all over the field. He's all over the field.
I don't think it changes that whole outcome of the Pittsburgh Steelers, though.
It weakens them on defense.
It does.
Of course, Big Ben Roethlisberger can go out and throw, but now I consider them more as an offensive threat than defensive threat. And if I'm going to pick a team now based upon no defense in the whole entire AFC, I'm going to go with the best offensive team in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs. Makes sense? I think it does.
Well, I can't argue with that.
I don't know if I would go with the Kansas City Chiefs, though.
I don't see anyone who can stop them. Not even Pittsburgh now. Without Devin Bush back there.
I mean, they still got Bud Dupree at linebacker. You got Marcus Allen still. TJ Watt's still technically a linebacker. That defense is still nice.
Look, there's what my 2-year-old son does to me. When I try to tell him to do something he doesn't want to do, he goes, no. No.
Oh, man.
No. I do not agree. I think I have that emote. Yeah, so those are my number ones. If I had to pick a number 2 in the AFC, it would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. If I had to pick a number 2 in the NFC, it would be... I don't want to say that. That's just going to piss y'all off.
Now we want to hear it. Who is it?
With a healthy Michael Thomas, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Saints.
Yikes.
We saw how big of an impact it made when Julio Jones came back to Atlanta.
Who?
We saw how big of Look at every year a healthy New Orleans Saints offense with Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and Drew Brees. They're in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, but now they have to deal with Tom Brady this year, so we'll see.
Just
That's
saying.
what.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara with Michael Thomas and
Still
Emmanuel
can't
Sanders
count out
and
Aaron
Drew
Rodgers
Brees,
when he gets back Devontae Adams either.
bro. And New Orleans defense when they're healthy is I mean they got one of the best cornerbacks in the league.
Wait, what did you say, Melvin?
I said you still can't count out Aaron Rodgers with Devontae Adams when he comes back.
5 fantasy points.
I can and I will. 5 fantasy points.
Count it. 1,
Drew Brees had a bad week
4, 5.
without Michael Thomas, but it wasn't no damn 5 fantasy points, bro. All he had was his running back too, but it wasn't no damn 5 fantasy points, and he's been balling out. Why couldn't Aaron find a way to get it done? Hmm? I don't understand.
Devontae makes a huge difference to that offense, though.
Michael Thomas makes a better difference.
He does.
I'm sorry to New Orleans.
He does.
I don't understand what happened with Aaron Rodgers. I wish I could call him, but he blocked me.
Where's your power rankings at? Where you at, hiatus? Who you got?
All right. I don't know, man. Like, so AFC for me right now, it's a split between Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Because again, Patrick Mahomes has something to prove. Le'Veon Bell has something to prove. Haven't really seen how they're going to use
Honestly,
Bell.
I don't think Le'Veon's going to be much of a. I think he's going to end up playing like a Shady role when LaShawn McCoy was there.
Worth
Right.
it. He's a better LaShawn McCoy.
Even if you put Le'Veon Bell as basically your pass option, that's
what I'm thinking. He's going to be the third down back and pass option.
Yeah, but that's a dangerous pass option.
It is, but can he stay healthy enough? He's already been hurt this year.
Doesn't matter. They've been winning without him.
And he's not getting the takes. Is less opportunity for him to get hurt, which means that they preserve him a little bit more. And especially if they're passing to him versus just handing it off to him, that's going to give him more room to stay healthy and just be a monster. So that kind of opens it up because we're not talking about defense with them. We're just talking about offense.
Strictly offense, exactly.
Their offense prowess. Of course, we have to see how that losing that defensive player with Pittsburgh plays out, if they're able to compensate for it and see how they keep going. So that's why
it's going to be a very true test this weekend going against Derrick Henry and that Titans offense.
Exactly. So it's a toss up with them, and then of course right under them I have the Titans because they've proven themselves worthy to be there.
Very much so.
Right now, Seattle's kind of on the bubble because I really haven't seen them go against somebody that makes me go,
And we're going to see that this weekend.
Yeah. It's like,
Arizona's a very high offensive power team. And if Seattle can pull out and win that game and even hold Arizona down to below 20 points, then we may be able to consider Seattle into that conversation.
This is true. On the NFC side of things, right now, the tops for me in the NFC is, of course, the Bucks. If they continue to play like they're playing right now, or if that wasn't just a facade, the game against Green Bay, if they're able to consistently repeat that, they will be hard to beat because that will solidify them as both offensively and defensively demoralizing for anybody that they go against.
And we've brought this up in past podcasts. He faces Nick Foles this weekend, his kryptonite.
Yeah.
And also a very, very good Bears defense.
This is true.
Ooh, the Rams?
I wasn't
no,
about the Bucs.
Chicago Bears and Tampa Bay. No, Chicago.
And the Rams.
No,
They're
that's the
playing.
Rams game. That's the Rams
Yeah.
game. Okay. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad.
Dang, he already counting them out.
I know. I am counting them out.
Um, but yeah, and then of course we know New Orleans going to do what New Orleans does. We know Green Bay is going to do what Green Bay does. Trying to think of who else in the NFC that I can see. Like NFC is so open,
It
and like
is.
right now,
Right
until I
now,
see
in the considerations at
until I see
4-2 and above, you got the Rams, Cardinals, Bucks, Packers, Bears, and Seahawks.
see here's the problem. Like I almost so close bought into the Bears. The problem is when you start to look at, and I'm glad that we have Lamb to keep us honest with.
Yep.
When you
Yep.
start to look at the teams that they play, you do question and go,
You do
man,
question it, and it's like,
oh,
you do have
like
a point. They did
you
play nobody, but
play nobody. You should be where you
Yep.
are.
right.
Like,
Arizona
so it's
Cardinals.
that's kind of where I'm at. Like I gotta see teams play some of these top tier teams, and then it's like, okay, they're legit. Like they're legit. Um, and that's why I said for the Bucks, because we've kind of seen them progress. You know, that you rarely see a NFL team go from being the number one, like calls to having like a great game with the less, like they're not getting calls, they're not offsides, they're not none of that. Like
Yeah.
they just really played the perfect game. And so if they can emulate that game, game of over game, they're going to be tough to beat. And right now, because of injuries, it's kind of hard to say like the Saints. It's hard to say, we don't have to see what the Falcons are going to do now that they have, their team kind of coming back healthy. That defense, that division is so stacked because you
Very stacked.
like
Second hardest
like,
division.
even though I talk about the Panthers, they're still in the conversation because they still can do some things. When they get healthy, you have to see how that's going to play
When
out.
McCaffrey
So
comes back, it's going to be a huge difference maker.
right, so that
Nope.
whole division right
Nope.
there, outside of seeing what the Rams does, man, that's kind of where I sit with the NFC. It's kind of like we're looking at seeing who's going to step up first. But to be honest, I mean, this is a year that we were in the off season. If you followed any of the talk during the off season, this was a season that Patrick Mahomes said was his season to repeat because there were so many questions about him winning last year, that people were making, I guess, stuff that he heard said here and there, thinking that this was like a one and done. And this man is hell bent on creating a dynasty.
Yep.
So when you got a quarterback that is like talking to his team and saying, "We got this," and then you add an addition like a Le'Veon Bell to it, and they go, "Look, bro, like we got the tools." It's kind of like those pep talks that you have with the Warriors or you have with the Lakers or you have.
Right.
It's like, bro, we're built different.
Yep.
We
Yep.
can do this, So when it comes down to it, I will not be surprised to see, Patrick Mahomes back in the Super Bowl. Like that's his goal. It's Super Bowl or bust for them this year, and they've been playing at that level. Um, Even with them losing to the Raiders, like they didn't get blowed out.
No.
It came to him getting the opportunity to take it. He failed. That happens in football. You move on to the next, and he brushed that off and beat the teams that he's supposed to beat. And so it's like when you start seeing stuff like that, you're like, okay,
But if you
this
look
is
at it, though, the Raiders put up 40 points on them.
yeah.
No
Well,
defense.
again,
We
we're
know
not
their
talking
defense
about
is not.
defense.
Yeah.
We're not talking about defense. We're literally just talking about offense. That's
Right.
why I didn't and one defensive player.
But
Because
when you
it
have an
will not.
offense like Kansas City, you're supposed to outscore a team like the Raiders.
Correct.
I
But with a rookie running back,
Yeah, you still outscore them with the weapons that you got on offense.
with a rookie running back,
Yeah.
okay.
You seen Zeke have 50-yard games in Dallas still go off for 450 yards and come back and win a game. So, yeah, you can have a rookie running back do the same exact thing and have your offensive
But
other weapons go off and win the game for you.
I mean, you're talking about Zeke versus whoever this guy is that Kansas City has. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big difference in saying, you drafted, Aaron Rodgers and we drafted Teddy Bridgewater. You know what I'm saying? Like, as rookies, like Ezekiel Elliott, that's a huge skill gap
It is,
above
but
Clive Edwards,
we've
bro.
seen it a couple of times this year
And
where Zeke's only had
and
very less than 100 yards and pretty much done the
Dallas
same thing.
Dallas also had the best offensive line in the NFL with the highest paid offensive lineman in the NFL, and that definitely helps Zeke. Kansas City does not have all that. They don't. They just have the fear of Tyreek Hill and the fear of Patrick Mahomes, but that's all they need in the AFC. Honestly,
Right.
the biggest threat to Kansas City losing is coming from the NFC. Because even a losing team with a losing record in the NFC, the defenses in the NFC are so much better than the AFC. It's not even a question. It's not even a question. Let Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes run up against a healthy New Orleans Saints defense or a healthy San Francisco 49ers defense again. They won't make the same mistakes that they did in the fourth quarter last year in that Super Bowl. They forced him into throwing picks. They forced Patrick Mahomes into throwing multiple picks, bro. Multiple.
Pittsburgh beats Kansas City in the playoffs if it happens.
You think so?
I do.
Okay. We'll put a pin in that.
Only because of defense.
Yeah, we got to put a pin in that because that might actually be an AFC championship game.
That would be. Listen, all I know, it will be a dogfight. It will be a shootout, and that'll be a good game.
It'll be a very good game.
Yep, that's big facts.
I agree as well, Geek. So
when you have that good offensive line, you can make anybody who's mediocre look like they're a goat. They got all day to throw, and they got huge. That's what I talk about. Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith. Troy Aikman had 25 seconds to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay? When Emmitt Smith, when it was a run play, it would part like the Red Sea, like Moses put his staff in the water, and he ran across on dry land, and all the children of Israel followed him. You know what I'm saying? But come on,
wow.
when you sit back and compare Troy Aikman to Dan Marino to Aaron Rodgers, come on, bro. Like it's not even come on. You know what I mean? To Tom Brady, come on, bro. Troy Aikman, he got 2 rings, and I love him because he's a Dallas Cowboy. But if I'm going even greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time that I would like to start a franchise with if they're healthy, Troy Aikman's not even in my top 10. He's not even in my top 10, bro. Sorry. Can't.
My top 3 is interesting. Really interesting.
Continue.
I've got Kansas City at number 3 this week. My number 2, just because of the injury with Devin Bush, I'm keeping Pittsburgh at number 2. My number 1 is going to be the Tennessee Titans. All AFC teams this week.
Wow.
I don't have a single NFC team this week.
Wow.
I do have Tampa at number 4, and then the Bears at a close 5. Yes, I've got the Bears in that consideration right now.
Ouch. Ouch.
That's how bad the NFC is playing right now. That's how open the NFC is right now, considering Michael Thomas still isn't back. The Saints aren't playing where they need to be. Green Bay just showed they're very vulnerable and got their ass whooped against Tampa Bay.
That's true.
And then other than
Well,
that, you don't have another good team in the NFC right now. The Rams have shown suspect this a couple of times already. Me and Hiatus have agreed on this multiple weeks, and we can't put the Rams into that consideration yet. We haven't seen it, and I don't know if we're going to see it. And if you look at overall standings, the closest other NFC team in that consideration that's even got a winning record is the Arizona Cardinals. Other than that, everyone else is barely above 500.
Who was your number 3 again, Melby?
My number 3 is Kansas City.
That's so in your power rankings, you only have one Super Bowl team.
Yes. And that's because Kansas City's defense sucks. Both teams above them have equal both sides of the team on offense and defense.
I think we need to pray about this. I think we need to pray about his top 3 power rankings.
Come on, let's hold hands.
That's this week. That's just this week.
Tennessee Titans ain't been to a Super Bowl since Steve McNair.
They haven't. Okay? But if you look at that team, the way they're playing right now, and how good they're playing, their defense is no joke. Their defense is underrated, and they force turnovers. Their defense forces turnovers.
Pittsburgh was in a Super Bowl. They had Troy Polamalu and Santonio Holmes.
Yes. And Antoine Randall.
The Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year, and the LA Rams were in the Super Bowl the year prior.
Oh, yeah, we're definitely losing to the 49ers this week, Geek. No doubt about it. If we can lose to the Broncos, we're definitely losing against you guys. Well, like I said earlier in the podcast, we'll be lucky if we finish above 500 this year.
If this is going to sound crazy, Melby, because you know how I feel that the 49ers are a solid team when they're healthy, I do feel that way about the New England Patriots as well. And if Julian Edelman and everybody's healthy, that's going to be a very interesting game. And I don't think the 49ers just run away with it, because I will take Cam Newton.
We sucked last week. We were terrible.
Well, y'all are a terrible football team, but so are the 49ers. We had half of
everybody sit out. Injured. That's why I'm saying the 49ers are definitely beating us this weekend.
I don't know. They lost one of their best players.
Like I said, with our schedule the way it is this year, we'll be lucky if we finish at 500. George Kittle is going to finish with 150 plus yards.
Yeah, I don't know what the Patriots were thinking when they drafted Cam Newton, and every Patriot fan celebrated, and I was like,
there was no other quarterback available at the time. It was him or Kaepernick.
Draft one.
We traded our first round draft pick.
This is true.
We trade our first round draft pick 8 out of 10 times.
I'm not going to say nothing because my team is the Dallas Cowboys, so I'm not going to speak much on the Patriots.
You said the name that should not be named. What name is that, Geek? But yeah, I have Tennessee as my number 1 this week. They know how to turn over the ball on defense. Kaepernick. It literally was. It was Cam Newton or Kaepernick. You know that.
I got to ride with Colin Kaepernick on that one.
For a fact that Robert Kraft would have signed Kaepernick if nobody else was available. It would have happened. I still don't know how he's not signed right now, honestly, at least as a backup. Considering that Roger Goodell came out and said, "We're sorry we didn't listen to you. We should have listened to you before everything happened. And now we want you back in the NFL." Then why don't you have a job as a backup? Why do we have this no name under Andy Dalton that we don't even have stats for instead of Colin Kaepernick?
The same reason Antonio Brown is not signed. They're all about
that's because
themselves.
Antonio Brown is a even want to say it.
He's all about himself, just like Kaepernick is all about himself. Their individual brands are too large to be a team player anymore.
It's bad.
I can see that.
Truly bad.
Because it's
Antonio
not
Brown's doing music videos, trying to be a rapper. He's got a YouTube channel, like trying to do too much. Colin Kaepernick's going to write a book sponsored by Nike, still doing like their individual brands. They don't want to play football as bad as they're telling everyone that they want to play football. I'm sorry. Because Kaepernick, didn't he have an opportunity to be a backup, but he wants to be a starter? Didn't he have the opportunity to be like a backup for Baltimore or something?
They set up a couple different tryouts for him with some teams, and then he didn't show up, or he changed the venue at the last moment, and he still worked out with some teams, but just never like there wasn't, as far as like him actually getting to a point of signing. It was like he works out, and then majority of the time he's in front of the camera talking. So
he wants to talk. Yeah, he feels like he's like, I'm a Super Bowl quarterback, but I'm also like, yeah, but you lost that Super Bowl, Colin. You didn't win it. You caught a big fat L. Okay, you didn't get a W.
Listen, here's the thing about Colin Kaepernick that I will say. He was winning the Super Bowl until the lights went out. When the lights came back on, I don't know what happened, but they stole his ability to play quarterback.
Ray Lewis had a gun in his face when the lights went out.
Yeah, if Antonio Brown ever gets signed, he's basically suspended for 8 games automatically. You're right, Jason.
Worth it. Okay?
No, it's not worth it. That's the rest of the year.
No. If I'm a Dallas Cowboy, I'm signing, and I would have signed Antonio Brown at the beginning of the freaking season.
Take that headache.
You absolutely do. What? Can we do any worse than we're doing right now? Can we do any worse than we're doing right now?
With that headache on your team? Yeah.
Can we do any worse than we're doing right now?
Look how fast the Patriots got rid of him.
No, bro. Antonio. Oh, the Patriots were winning. The Patriots never needed him. They just wanted an additional piece, bro. Let's not get it confused. The Patriots.
Please do.
Your Patriots didn't even need Randy Moss, by the way, Melby. Y'all just wanted an additional piece. Y'all didn't need Ocho Cinco. Y'all didn't need Josh Gordon. You just
never even did anything for us. He barely even played.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all never needed him, bro. The Cowboys, we need him. I need him.
You don't need him. Are you kidding me? You have Amari Cooper. You have CD Lamb. You have Michael Gallup. Get out of here with that.
Okay, Michael Gallup, trash. Okay, CD Lamb, we don't know yet. He can get injured any game because he returns punts and kicks. I don't like wide receivers that return punts and kicks, especially rookies from Alabama.
Gallup led your guys' team in receiving when Amari Cooper was hurt.
But yeah, guess what? If I'm playing opposite Amari Cooper, my receptions go up as well when he gets injured. But you know the only thing that makes CD Lamb, Amari Cooper, and Michael Gallup better? Adding Antonio Brown.
Geek says the last time someone says, "Can I get it any worse in Dallas?" Jerry went out, got a super drama-filled player and toxic, and ended up to be a complete waste. That was his last chance to do it too, and that was in Terrell Owens.
Terrell Owens was at the end of his career. Antonio Brown would right now still be the best wide receiver in the NFL football league. You know what's sad
is that T.O. went to the Eagles after that and led them to a Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots.
No. False.
Yeah.
That did not happen. He did not go to the Eagles after he left the Cowboys.
I thought it was for sure he went to the
Eagles. It was before.
After. Was it before?
No, it was before. Yeah. It was before. Because he had Donovan McNabb throwing to him in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Was that the one where he was hurt and he was like, he got healed and he was going to play anyway?
I don't know. All I remember is T.O. didn't lose that Super Bowl. Okay. Donovan McNabb lost that Super Bowl, throwing up in the huddle. Get out of here. Yeah. Donovan McNabb says now he was throwing up in the huddle. He was sick. I'm like, bro, you can't handle it, bro. You can't handle the pressure, bro. Throwing up in the huddle.
Funny.
Aside from the fact that he had little hands, he kept fumbling the ball.
Oh man,
that list continues. From man, you can even go back to Pac-Man Jones, bro.
Right.
Like that list continues. And what's his
Good
name?
old
Who's been kicked
Pac-Man
off the team
Jones.
every year for drug charges? I mean, what's his name? He's
Josh
also
Gordon.
no, on the Dallas Cowboys. He's a offensive
Oh,
lineman. No, he's a
Gregory.
defensive lineman. Yeah,
Gregory.
Randy Gregory.
He just
Yeah.
got reinstated. You know that?
Yeah, because he's a monster. He's that good. When he's clean, bro, he's that good. Same thing with Josh Gordon.
He
When Josh
just got
Gordon is clean,
reinstated. I don't know if he's
when
gonna
Josh
play this weekend or not, but
when Josh Gordon is clean, he's that dang good that you want to keep signing him. So is Randy Gregory.
that's why I
When
was
he's
surprised the
clean, he's
Patriots
that
didn't
good.
keep him because we normally keep those types of players. So
By
it's
the way,
like,
can I just say Colin Kaepernick, no Antonio Brown have ever had drug charges?
nope. But when you have issues with women slash
But were they
That's-
abuse charges? Because Kareem Hunt is on tape kicking a female.
yeah, that's true. And
Antonio Brown has
Antonio
issues
Brown's
with his
case,
ex,
we
but they're
don't
not. It's not
fully,
abuse.
understand that because of
It's
so
not-
many different mixed
yeah.
stories.
It's yeah,
So many mixed stories on that.
that's true. And the truth will never come out because
No,
eventually he'll
it never
probably just
will
tear off.
because unfortunately it came out after he got his money. Our next
Yeah.
topic is the MLB, guys. All three of us were very happy that the Astros lost and didn't proceed into the playoffs.
Cheaters do not deserve
Cheaters
to
do
move
not
forward.
deserve. And my mentality, I've stated this before on the past podcast, I thought the Rays should have been banned of their title, taken away, not allowed into the playoffs for the next 3 to 5 years. They basically should have been taught, or not taught, but also taught and treated like the NCAA treats everybody. Is they ban their title ship and they ban them from being in the playoffs for 5 to 10 years.
He's saying this as a Patriots fan, by the way.
I admit to us cheating, though. I'm a true Patriots
So should
fan.
y'all get 10 years banned out of the league, New England?
No, we just
Oh.
come back and win the championship the next year.
They found a different way to cheat.
So for every year that y'all cheat, they should get 2 to 4 years out of the league.
Oh, Greg Hardy as
That
well.
would leave the Patriots out for 8 years, bro. That we can prove.
That'd be insane.
Miami might actually make it to the AFC Championship.
Shit, they got a chance this year. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, that's true. The Patriots are officially done, ladies and gentlemen.
We are not making the playoffs this year, guys. It's not.
It's what's
happening.
best for the league. It's what's best for the league. New blood.
But we were all happy that the Astros didn't make it. The Rays advanced through. Hiatus was especially happy for it.
Yep.
Dodgers beat Atlanta. I was hoping Atlanta was going to win that series. Atlanta deserves it. The Dodgers have been here multiple times the last couple of years with the same team. Haven't been able to do anything. And now they come in and beat the Rays tonight 8-3 in the first game of the series. It was a decent game in the beginning of the game until about the 6th inning. And then after that, LA just opened it up and never looked back after that.
They opened up a can of.
Unfortunately, the way it's looking this year and the way the outcome looked of everything else, I hate to say it, and I don't want to be that type of person, but I think LA is going to be handed the World Series this year.
You know it.
Yeah, they're going to be handed the World Series this year.
The
He's
minute
being
that
pretty toxic.
Yeah, the Dodgers definitely take this home.
Yeah, they're
and
taking it home. They got Kershaw back. He came back game 1, was dominant. Shut him
And even
out.
if not, California's had a rough year, y'all.
They have.
Everybody's had their houses and homes
Wildfires.
burned out. They need it. The same way the Saints
Multiple
got
people
their championship.
passing away. Yeah, Kobe passed away. His daughter passed away, but you can't forget about all the other souls that passed away on that helicopter
Yeah.
as well.
This is true.
You have one of the best
saying?
high
California
school
needs a
slash
championship.
college coaches to ever coach that passed away. His daughter, another daughter that didn't have her parents with her, the
right.
helicopter pilot, another coach that was along with them that was a female. So, I mean, the whole state of LA, like Lamb said, between losing their houses and wildfires, losing such mentors in their community at the same time as well. I mean, they got one championship with the Lakers, and it's looking now they're probably going to get a second championship with the Dodgers. Um,
Just don't like the fact that they're using Florida teams to get their chips on.
right.
That's my
And the way that they're playing off with everything almost makes it lead off like everything was played off and it was going to be let off to be that made that way anyways. And not everybody likes it that way. And a lot of people are pretty upset that it's become that way and it's reality now, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, we've kind of been saying it for years with certain games that it kind of looks like it's, I don't want to say staged, but it looks that way for certain teams to win. But I mean,
Yes.
it is like when Jerome Bettis was in his last season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they made sure he got him a ring
Yep.
before he left. And
Ray
everybody,
There was no way Arizona should have lost that Super Bowl.
yeah, like we knew that
Ray
he
Lewis.
was winning his ring.
Yeah, Ray Lewis was another one.
Yeah, like there are certain ones that you know
Peyton Manning was another one.
He already had one though. Technically.
He already had one, but still.
But
Yeah,
if
it was
you,
retirement.
that one that he won with Denver was vindication for what happened with Indiana.
Right. For him
yeah.
being let go, coming back from surgery at the same time, and then with the Broncos not being in a Super Bowl and God knows what, 15, almost 20 years?
And it was also to make sure he had enough money to silence the young lady that came out about his involvement in
His behavior.
Right.
Right.
So
Alleged
they set it all up so he can get out of there. Listen, here's the moment that I was watching the Super Bowl and I realized that it was staged. Cam Newton fumbles the ball and jumps away from the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the crap was that? I remember that fumble.
Yep.
I said, what is he doing? Why doesn't he dive on the ball?
Nobody in football history has
Ever
done that.
Ever. You dive on it. You don't even try to pick it up. You just dive your body all over the ball.
Exactly. He dived away from the ball. And I was like, wow, yeah, okay. Well, that's what it is.
Geek.
I remember that exact moment.
And this is the thing. When I say certain things like this, especially for teams that I root for, I look at like Lamb. I look at statistics coming into that game, and this is not any knock against the defense of the Denver Broncos because it was amazing. But we did play some phenomenal defenses on our road to the finals, and we put up 31 plus points on every defensive team that we faced. And the fact that we could not even put up 20 points.
Not even. 8 points the whole Super Bowl.
Y'all did it to them too. The whole first half of that game was trash. Y'all were dominating. The whole first half of that game.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? What is this? Like, nobody's playing. Nobody's playing. Like, what? So,
I don't understand.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those things.
Yeah.
And when I
Super
heard
Bowls are definitely planned out.
When I heard him say, this one's for the sheriff, and I was like, you never want your quarterback to praise another quarterback because you already know what time it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
even think about last year.
Yeah.
Who's a better face of the league, Patrick Mahomes or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Who had the better team last year, Patrick Mahomes or Jimmy Garoppolo?
Patrick Mahomes.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo had the better team.
Yeah, I'm gonna say.
If you look offensively, no. Defensively, yes.
I say offense and defense.
Nah.
The 49ers had the number one running offense in the league.
The number one running offense, yes. But you also look at it, Damian Williams was also a top 5 running back into the playoffs and at the end of the year as well. So if you look at Damian Williams,
the 49ers hit over 1,000 yards last season. Didn't both of them do that?
No, because Mostert didn't play enough. Matt Breida led most of that until he got hurt. And then Mostert took in and demolished the playoffs.
I think the San Francisco 49ers had the best team in football last year.
It looked.
As
Definitely would
far as
say
far
that.
as 49ers go, yes, they have a good run game, and they have a number 1 or number 2 tight end in the league, hands down. But the rest of the wide receiver core wasn't there. If you look at Kansas City's whole offense, their whole offense is a hell of a lot better than the 49ers' offense is. Defense, hands down, is the 49ers.
Bring it up here.
Because, like I said, if you look at it and look how Damian Williams performed for Kansas City, Damian Williams showed out pretty much the second half of the year in all the playoffs. And then the receivers they had, let alone, are a lot better than the 49ers receivers. Because you got also a counterpart in George Kittle and Travis Kelce. And then you got Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, who will automatically trump any wide receivers that you have on any of the 49ers.
Let me tell you this. Passing touchdowns last year, Jimmy Garoppolo had 28. Patrick Mahomes had 30.
Mm-hmm.
Rushing touchdowns last season, 49ers had 23. The Chiefs had 16. Rushing yards last year, the Chiefs had 1,569. The San Francisco 49ers had 2,305. Average yards per carry last year rushing for the Chiefs, 4.2. For the 49ers, 4.6. The only thing the Chiefs beat the 49ers in last year was passing yards and touchdowns. That's it.
Yeah,
So
that's what I just stated.
that lets me know the 49ers had a better team overall. The Chiefs just have Patrick Mahomes. That's what that sounds like to me.
But most of those stats, Damian Williams wasn't running most of that in the first half of the year. Damian Williams didn't start until like week 6.
Yeah, no, what? Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't matter if they went through 3 or 4. Like, the rushing attack from San Francisco last year was absolutely retarded.
Yeah, and that's Mostert with his like 3 200-yard games that he had.
And their
that
defense
went off. Oh yeah,
Nick
I said that.
Bosa went off,
49ers
bro.
defense is. I already said 49ers defense is better than Kansas City's. That's hands down.
Tevin Coleman had 544 yards. Raheem Mostert had 772. Matt Breida had 623. They had 3 running backs over 500 yards rushing. That's retarded.
But you don't beat Tom Brady en route to a Super Bowl and don't win a Super Bowl. I'm just saying that just can't.
Yeah, no, that's facts.
That just can't happen.
That's bad.
You mean to tell me you beat Tom the GOAT, but then you lost to Garoppolo? I'm sorry. Who are you again?
Yeah.
That's too funny. So
I feel like the league promoted. I feel like it's sometimes like it's a conspiracy. Like the league, Patrick Mahomes is so marketable. All right. He's hilarious. He's young. He's talented. He's smart. He's photogenic. Like he's everything that people. He's not dating porn stars like Jimmy G. You know what I mean? Like Jimmy G's like the anti of what the NFL league wants to represent. That's why in all the commercials for the NFL, Patrick Mahomes is always in there. They're like, "This is our league. We're gonna put him on top. We're gonna make him the man." It's kind of like the GOP. They're like, "Okay, here's our candidate. Here's who's going to run for president." You know what I mean? Like it's like the league and everyone prop this guy up to make the most money. Think about how much money the NFL loses if the top guy in the league is really the most talented guy in the league.
Right.
Like I love Patrick Mahomes, but I don't think he's the best athlete. I don't consider him the best athlete in the NFL. I think the best athlete in the NFL might be Aaron Donald. If we're just talking about pure athleticism, name another big boy who can do all that stuff that he's doing.
Myles Garrett's pretty close there in that consideration. Myles Garrett's a monster.
And I also still think that Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league right now. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame, but right now in the league, he is the best quarterback.
Remember, chat, 5 points.
5 fantasy points.
5.
Yeah, 5. But if you're having if we're having a skills contest, between all quarterbacks in the league, Aaron Rodgers wins that. It's not even close. Aaron Rodgers wins.
This is very interesting. So just to keep in line with the way that 2020 is going. So we've both seen future Hall of Famers have breakdowns. We had Brady, who didn't know what down it was and cost him a game. And then we seen a 5-point fantasy team output by Aaron Rodgers. So 2020 is still shaping up to be one of those years where we see stuff that we never thought we would see.
And I think Drew Brees, when Michael Thomas went out that first game, I think he had 8 or 9 fantasy points.
Yeah.
By the way. But it wasn't 5, Ron. He almost doubled what you had, Ron. He almost doubled it, bro. What?
Oh, my Lord. So I think we're all on the same topic about the Dodgers being World Series champions, right?
Hey, Ron, if I ever see you, I love wrestling.
I love wrestling.
Boom!
Oh.
Yep, and I'm going to pop up quick, too. I'm going to do that back pop-up thing that Shawn Michaels used to do. He was playing possum.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, no, the Dodgers are going to take it.
Team. Yeah, Dodgers is taking this World Series.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if it goes I would be really surprised if it went the other way.
I'm almost thinking this might end up being a sweep.
Yeah, because I mean, come on, like we've watched the Rays face teams. I mean, great teams, and be able to get them down 3 to whatever, and to make it to the World Series and to get beat 8-3. Like, you can't put numbers, you can't play defense, you're just giving away home runs and
And the Dodgers have been here multiple times in the last couple of years and haven't done it. And the Rays are young and inexperienced.
It's again these questionable things that when you see them through the season and when they get into the chip, you go, what is this? Because this is not how you played up to. And I know that they like, oh, the light is brighter. It's still
we
the
saw
same.
that with the Clippers.
It's still the same. Exactly. And now, of course, they're coming out and saying nobody wanted to be in the bubble. But, I mean, that ain't nobody's but theirs.
Right.
We know what happened.
Exactly. You got to play.
Yep. Man up. You brought Paul George. Live with your decision.
Oh, my God.
And speaking of the NBA, that's our next topic. Giannis is the biggest conversation so far.
I guarantee you, Giannis can shoot better threes than Paul George.
Paul George was garbage. And acting like he practices every day. He gets so mad at himself. He's like,
yup. And you know what the sad part is? Is that the Clippers came out and said that Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are no matter what staying with the Clippers this year.
Sorry, LA. Sorry, Clippers fans. You better root for them Lakers.
They said they're trying to package Lou Williams, Zubac, and Patrick Beverly in a deal to reform their team and get other pieces in instead.
Now, here's what I will say about the Clippers, because this is what we've seen in them building, a team. Their front office is really good at being able to core stars to come to the team and build the team.
Right.
But here's the caveat to that. You build a team, but you don't focus on chemistry issues. And so then, because you have stars that like to take time off, there is no chemistry built. They haven't been on the same floor playing with each other. They don't get the same touches. And so then by the end of the season, y'all are all on the floor, but nobody knows whose role is what. And so you can't keep that same mantra if you want to win a chip. And that's my problem I had with them signing Tyronn Lue instead of getting a fresh new head coach that's going to address new players. He was already there. He was already a part of that core. So he's not going to give you any more insight or any more help than he gave you last year when you had the team that you had. So even if you bring in new pieces, what is the expectation? If last year was title or bust, what is the expectation now when you bring in more superstars. Now, one of the thing was going into the playoffs, we talked about their depth. So now you're talking about getting rid of most of that depth so that you can bring in other stars, and you're basically trying to add.
And that's the
But
other thing. Who's gonna want a disgruntled and
thank you.
such a odd piece in Patrick Beverly?
Agreed. And the other thing too is who's gonna want to come to a team with a superstar that doesn't galvanize the team, with a subpar superstar that you can't count on in the playoffs. Like, who wants to go to that?
And Geek said that too. He's like, would you consider Paul George a team player? He's like, I don't. And I was like, no, we saw that in Indiana. We saw it in OKC with him fighting with Russell Westbrook. And he's too scared to do it with LA and Kawhi Leonard because Kawhi will just go ahead and slap him.
I don't know if he would slap him, but
He's going to take that big old hand of his and take it right across his face.
he would probably tell Paul George, who brought
He's
you
going to tell
here?
you to shut up, follow my mentor, win this championship.
The biggest problem with the Clippers ever winning a championship is LeBron James with the LA.
Yeah, and AD's
Anthony
already
Davis.
stated that he's going to come
Yep.
back and re-sign with the Lakers.
LeBron and AD with Caruso, Rondo.
They
Dwight
need to get rid
Howard.
of Danny Green.
That's a problem. Okay,
Listen,
that is a problem in the.
I think the issue that the Clippers are going to have this year is when the Warriors come back.
The Warriors,
Yep.
everyone keeps forgetting about that. They get
Think that's
Curry
what-
back.
I've been bringing up the Warriors
I know,
for the last
but
two
I'm
podcasts.
saying everyone else in the world.
Oh yeah.
Everyone's forgetting about that. They
Yeah.
get
Steph
Klay
and
Thompson
Klay.
back. They get
Who can put
Curry
up more
back.
points?
Draymond
put up
Green
more
was hurt almost half of last year, so they get their three main pieces back to their
they don't-
championship-winning roster.
They don't match up well against the Lakers because of
They
their
don't.
height.
They don't.
They
But-
match up great against the Lakers.
They match up great against the Clippers
Yes.
because nobody's going to be able to stop any one of them at all.
No one on the Lakers will
Wait,
also
wait.
be able to stop Klay Thompson and Steph Curry from shooting threes if they want to shoot
No,
threes.
but who's going to stop AD down low and getting the rebounds?
That's fine. I'll take 3-pointers over 2-pointers all day long.
Yeah, but you won't have the possession. The game's going to be
But it's
slowed
going to
down.
turn into three-point plays and getting fouled.
The Golden State Warriors are the only team who can score 33 points in like 2 minutes.
Right, but remember, we're reminiscing on a team that they lost majority of their depth in this period of time. So
Yep.
yes, they do have their three stars coming back that should be healthy, but a lot of their versatility and the fact that they were able to do what they did is because of the stars they had on that team. Let's not.
Exactly.
They
Steph
had
Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green can play all game just like Jimmy Butler can. And they're better shooters.
Yeah, but they also would have lost to LeBron James without any help their first go around. We watched that. We experienced that. So I won't give them that much room. I'll have to see what their front office does and puts around them. If they're able to build around them like they did before, then yeah, I can give you that because it's going to make it a lot harder for them to guard those people. But we've seen 3-point teams that should have beaten the Lakers, where the Lakers stopped playing around and locked down on them. They can lock down when they need to. They can run them off the 3-point line. And if they don't have any depth inside, it's going to be a field day. It's going to be a field day. I did not see that same level of intensity or lockdown when it came for the Clippers. So that's why I'm saying I have to see what their front office does.
Klay Thompson is one of the best defenders the NBA has ever seen in a long time,
He's
and
a very
Draymond Green.
underrated defender.
Draymond
He is.
Green is the only player in the NBA who can get a triple double with no points. I'm just
Then
saying.
Then what did he do last year, huh?
I'm just
Huh?
saying. I'm just saying.
What'd he do? What'd he
I'm
do?
just saying.
Exactly.
I'm just
Commentated
saying.
NBA games instead of
Arguing
played.
with Charles Barkley. Make
I'm
his
just saying.
announcement.
Y'all putting a lot on the Lakers, but as I recall, Klay Thompson is a better defender than anybody on the Lakers team. And Draymond Green, he disrupts the middle better than anyone in the NBA and can get a triple-double with 0 points just off of assists, rebounds, and blocks or steals.
But they had a different team. So you also have to keep that in perspective, because I know what you're saying, but I watched them for the 4 years that they were on top.
Look, what came on? Look at that.
Come on, Lamont.
It halfway came on. So when you talk about players in any sport and you talk about they don't have the same team, that only matters, and I stated this earlier when we're talking about the NFL, that only matters when you're talking about players that aren't special. LeBron James, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Anthony Davis, Jimmy Butler, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving can be on any team in the league and still do what they do. They might lose every game because their team is trash, but LeBron James is still going to have a damn triple-double almost every game, right? James Harden is going to get his points and do what he does and become an MVP candidate every game, just like LeBron will. Steph Curry will lead the league in three-pointers and dominate and hit game winners, and Klay Thompson will D up anyone and be a top defensive player in the league, just like Draymond Green, on any team every single year without fail.
Well, let me just clarify. Steph doesn't hit game winners, so let's not include that.
Neither does LeBron.
He's hit more than Steph. Let's look at the numbers.
Yeah, no, that's facts. But when you're Steph Curry, you don't have to hit game winners when you're beating every team by 34 or more points.
Right, but I get what you're saying. But we've watched them for the last 4 years, and that depth that they had, being able to keep their lead, being able to extend their lead, they had some great players. They had Iguodala that gave them a longer defensive stretch. They had their JaVale McGee at one point when he was making his transition back, being able to grab rebounds and block and be defensive. So like, we've seen them. I understand what you're saying about their stars being stars and doing what they do, but they can only do what they do with their supporting cast. They do need them, that supporting cast, and they've always been complimented on their depth, the same way that they were complimenting the Clippers on their depth.
AD and LeBron James and Rajon Rondo almost lost to Jimmy Butler and Duncan Robinson.
Really?
You forget about the dude that should have been named Rookie of the Year in Tyler Hero.
What series did you watch? I'm sorry, because I never seen them in trouble.
The Lakers should have swept them 4-0.
I get that.
How many games did the Lakers lose?
I never seen them in trouble.
I saw them in trouble. I saw LeBron James walking off the court shaking his head multiple times.
They were up 2-1.
He'd been doing that his whole career, though.
They were in trouble. No, they were in trouble, bro.
3-1. And then they were up 3-2. And then they won 4-2.
Are they that good if they lost
hold on.
to the Miami Heat
the first
2 times? While Jimmy Butler's playing all minutes every single game, bro.
So does that discredit all of the teams that they beat on their way to get there and they gentlemen sweep them?
Yes, the East is trash.
What? They're in the West. What?
Oh, you're talking about the Lakers? I was talking about the Miami Heat, sir.
No, I'm saying, does that discredit all of the teams that they gentlemen sweep to get to the finals?
The Lakers, let's see, who did they play? Let's go over those teams real quick.
They played Houston and they played Denver.
Okay, they should have swept Denver, but not Houston, because we got to put some respect on James Harden's name. Right? We're not going to put some respect on James Harden's name, because all you got to do is Google this man's stats over the last 3 years. We got to put some respect on his name, bro.
Okay.
Look at James Harden's stats.
I don't need to see it. I've seen what he did in the playoffs. So I'm just saying, Like I get what you're saying.
James Harden
Right?
doesn't have a LeBron to carry him though.
Yeah, that's true. But the
If
team,
LeBron and James Harden were there, come on, bro. Come on.
yeah, was focused around his play style.
Yep.
So I get that. Which it'll be interesting to see what they do now that things are changing. Um, but I'm just saying, like we right now, there's no clear favorite to win anything because so many people are coming back from injury.
Yep.
I'm just making the point that when Golden State was at the top of their game, yes, their stars did what their stars did, but they had depth, and that helped to extend their legacy, and them being as good as they were with the people that they could bring off the bench and how intertwined they were with Clay and Steph. You gotta have that, and they lost a lot of those key fundamental parts in this transition that they were hurt and with Kevin Durant leaving and all that type stuff. So for the last 2 years, they've basically had. I mean, come on, like what was his name from New Jersey that they picked up as a point guard? Like he's not. You're not keeping him. Like he's not. Like you know what I mean? Like they did things that was like what? What are you doing? So I gotta see what they do in the off season to expand that team. Now we know that the three-headed monster is gonna be the three-headed monster, but
Right.
depth is important. So, you especially with them coming off of injury, you don't want them to get re-injured or re-aggravate their injury. So you don't want them playing extensive minutes, and that's why that bench is crucial. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Oh no, that three-headed monster I think is better than LeBron and AD. Because
Okay.
you can have your bench players come in so you can get a break, which Jimmy Butler didn't really have. But when it comes down to winning games, you rely on your best players.
We wouldn't have beat Shaq and Kobe in 2008 if it wasn't for the Celtics bench, even though we had our three-headed monster team.
Yeah, but that's Shaquille O'Neal, who's the most dominant player the league has ever seen. LeBron James is not Shaquille O'Neal.
No,
Shaq
but I'm
is a different
stating,
story.
like,
Shaq was Goliath. He was 9 foot
you're saying
tall,
you would take a 3
450 pounds.
over a bench or this, that, and the other. I'm saying I
No,
would take a bench
nope. I didn't
over.
say I would take. I didn't say I would take the three over the bench. I said I'll take this three over the Lakers two. I'll take the big three from Golden State over the Lakers, LeBron James and AD. Because let's be honest, LeBron James and AD, they won that entire series by themselves. They had a couple shots here and there, but come on. They carried the entire team on their shoulders. Boston did have a team. And it was nice when the Golden State Warriors were making their run. You could bench Curry, Clay, and Draymond Green, and the bench will hit 28 points. Like,
Yep.
that's a good feeling.
And that's
You
what
know
I'm
what I mean?
saying. I'd rather have a bench than have a big three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd rather have a bench too. But if you don't have a bench and you have those three players, I'll take those three players over any three players in the league. I'll take Steph, Clay, and Draymond over LeBron and AD. I'll take them over Kyrie and KD. I'll take them over whoever the heck San Antonio has now, LaMarcus and DeRozan. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take
Yeah.
them over Russell and James Harden. Like, I'll take those three from Golden State. Like, we need to put some respect on how good those three are. If you were going to start a team and you could take those three, would you take them, or would you take LeBron and AD, or would you take KD and Kyrie, or would you take? I mean, what faction would you take in the NBA? Because me, hands down, it's going to be and we can even remove Draymond. It's going to be Steph and Clay. I'm going to take Steph and Clay over any two in the league. I just am.
We can agree to disagree on that.
What
But
two would you take? Would you take LeBron and AD?
I sure would.
I would almost even take Kyrie and KD over those two.
Not the way y'all was talking about KD last week.
Hey, listen, we were talking about not his ability. Bad boy when he's in his bag.
When KD's in his bag, he can do anything and anything.
This is true.
That's the point. Oh my, y'all flip flopping, bro.
We're not.
Y'all flip flopping.
Oh,
Y'all was not putting any respect on Kevin Durant's name. I was like, he changes everything. Y'all were like, nah.
Because he's team with Kyrie Irving.
exactly.
Oh,
That's
I got
the only reasoning.
It's in the locker room, but we also still have to see if he's 100% when he comes back from injury.
Right.
If he's same KD. Now, if he's still the same KD and they can put that locker room at ease, they will be pretty tough to beat.
Yep. But that's the if, ands, or buts.
Right. They'll need a bench. Like,
yeah.
which
they do have a bench. They have a solid squad if they keep everything there.
So you don't want chemistry issues and people talking crazy to the other person, because we know that KD can do that. We know that Kyrie can do that and alienate an entire bit. Like, all I'm saying is everybody has short memory. Like, Kyrie did not nearly self-destruct the Celtics locker room. Like, the man was literally toxic.
It's the most toxic I've seen an NBA player be in
like,
a while.
Play with this man. Like, he literally had to go and apologize to LeBron James for his abrupt leaving because he was so toxic to that locker room.
Yep. It was bad. I felt so bad for that Celtics team.
If you have true talent, there's nobody that can hold you back. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I've situations in my personal life where there's been people literally in certain career paths trying to hold me down, you know what I mean? And doing stuff like that. So true talent cannot be held back by how toxic it is. You know what I'm saying? If you're talented, you are going to make plays. It doesn't matter what one big mouth says in the locker room. Look at the Houston Texans finding a way to still play decent football and almost come back and meet the Tennessee Titans, because apparently D-Hop is toxic too. Let's not forget about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, apparently he's a toxic individual, talking back to the offensive coordinator, talking back to the head coach. If you're on a sports team, apparently Aaron Rodgers is toxic too. You don't talk back to your head coach.
Very toxic.
You don't talk to your head coach in front of the players, right?
True.
You can talk when you're in that head. When you're the best player on your team, you have the one-on-ones with coach, and you bring up your concerns. But if coach says, here's the offense that we're going to run, you don't roll your eyes in the huddle and do all that stuff that Aaron was doing, bro. Like, that's toxic. D-Hop, you do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But the team's talent will still shine through.
And I agree with you. Talent is talent. But at the same time,
shine through.
But at the same time, I will also say that it is very hard for you to win a championship without your bench. And if you alienate the teams, it doesn't matter how talented you are. You need those role players. You need those people that's going to step up. So you don't want to piss them off to where they're not giving you quality minutes.
Right.
Oh, but KD doesn't want a championship. Can we all agree that if KD wanted a championship, he would have stayed with the Golden State Warriors?
No.
Not with him, and not with the way Draymond Green called him out like that.
If he wants the best opportunity for a championship, he would not be in Brooklyn.
Lamb, let me ask you a question. Because you're an alpha male, right?
I'm a what?
You're an alpha male.
Absolutely. Right? 100%.
100%, right?
Yep.
That's why we love you. Calls you a bitch and says we were better without you, there ain't no way in hell that you're going to be like, well, I just want a chip, I'm going to stay here. You're going to be like, fuck that. Then prove it. And you're going to go somewhere else and prove them wrong.
Not me. Because if I'm an alpha male, I would have never joined that team.
I knew he was going to say that.
I would have
going to say.
Oh, yeah. My Lord.
I'm gonna Tim Duncan this. I'm gonna stay right here where they drafted me and bring a championship here. I'm gonna LeBron and be like, you know what? I'm going back to Cleveland to bring them a championship. That's what alpha males do. We don't say, oh, let me go join a championship team, bro. Nah, we don't do that. So that would have never happened to me.
I'm just saying, like that's a very even for a beta male, that's very a hard pill. That's the equivalent
But
of in open palm slapping you in the face and
even if
daring you.
I'm a beta, let me tell you this, hiatus. Even if I'm a beta, I'm gonna
Yeah,
hit him with that Kobe Bryant, and I'm gonna smile because I make double, almost triple what this clown does. All right, you got rings, but
Yeah.
I'm Kevin Durant. I'm backing up while he's trying to swing and talk trash. Be like, this one step right here, $7,000 more than you make every hour. This one step, this other step I'm taking back right here. Look, you see this Gatorade right here that I'm drinking? As long as they get this on camera, Draymond Green, because all Draymond Green, all you got is a clear smile, fix your crooked teeth endorsement, bro. That's all you got, bro. I got McDonald's, I got Gatorade, I got Nike. Like I'm gonna laugh at you because I got bread, bro. You hear those sound bites where they're talking trash about Kobe, and Kobe's like, $50,000, I'll hit this free throw. You got $50,000? You know what I mean? That's an alpha. Kobe's like, what? I'm gonna miss this free throw? I'll bet $50,000 in a Lamborghini on this shot. You can't do that, Draymond Green. Go get your dentist money, bro. I'm with Gatorade and Nike. All right, go
I
talk
get.
whatever you want.
I'm just saying. That's I get it. I get it. But that's a hard pill to swallow. I could see the reason for him leaving. But I do think that the thought process was that he wanted to get another chip. Now, according to what they said, he did talk with LeBron James when he first came to LA, but he opted not to go to LA, and he went to the Nets.
Yep.
So we'll see. I mean, time will tell whether or not his intentions was a ring or if he just wanted to go somewhere else and drift off into the background. We'll
He's
know.
gonna go somewhere where he's gonna be the megastar.
And
That's
I
what
mean,
it is.
speaking of people
like
leaving,
talent shines through, so he'll always be a mega star as long as he can put up and his talent shows through. It don't matter where he goes. He can go to the Phoenix Suns.
Yep.
yeah,
He wanted a championship. He should have kept talking with LeBron James or worked through it and bought Draymond Green a F1 McLaren. Draymond can't afford one, but KD can afford a couple. You know what I'm saying?
This is true.
That's why I'm like,
buddy.
even in the biggest fight that I've seen in a long time with Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, all that trash Conor McGregor was talking, Floyd Mayweather was just sitting there quiet, like, bro, I can buy. You're nothing. I can. Floyd Mayweather can buy the UFC, bro. Like that's what people don't understand. If he wanted to, you know what I mean, Conor McGregor talk all the, and I love Conor McGregor too, but I also love Floyd Money Mayweather. That's why I'm like, talk all the trash you want, Conor, bro. Who do you think you are? Like, this is Floyd Mayweather. He spends more money on strippers than you've ever made in your life, bro.
Woo.
What? That's big. If he tips more at the strip club than I've ever made in my entire life, put some respect on his name, son. What? Draymond Green was right though. They never needed Kevin Durant, so Kevin Durant's just gonna have to eat that one. He's
He
gonna.
didn't lie.
Have
I
that
never.
part.
I won't say he lied. He told the truth.
Right.
Sure did.
And speaking of people leaving, we have speculations on somewhat of where Giannis may go, if not possibly stay in Milwaukee. Three teams that have possible interest in him right now are the Raptors, Mavericks, and Heat. I think the biggest piece and most probable piece will probably be the Mavericks because they have the money to do so. But I don't foresee Miami going after him, and I really don't see Toronto going after him because Toronto's going to try to keep Fred VanVleet considering he's a free agent as well. But does Giannis stay for another year and say, maybe show me what you guys got and try to build a team around me even though you guys haven't done it? Or does he leave?
Giannis needs to run. Giannis, I'm looking at you now because I know you're in this podcast, all right? I know you're lurking in the chat, bro, just like Aaron was earlier. Giannis, run. run.
I
Get out of
agree.
Milwaukee.
He needs to leave Milwaukee.
Bro, if you stay in Milwaukee, if you want your legacy tarnished with a whole bunch of good stats and no championship, you can be Carmelo Anthony if you want to, but you have an opportunity to be an Akeem Olajuwon, bro. Like you have an opportunity to go somewhere with Clyde Drexler's and you know what I mean, like with some talent around you to help you get that ring. Because as good as you are, Giannis, if you can't shoot threes, you ain't getting no championship, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. You can be as good as you want, but if you can't shoot threes in this league, you ain't winning no championships. And last time I checked, last time I checked, you can't shoot no damn
He
three.
was airballing threes.
Yeah, geek, I don't want none of that. Nope. No thank you. Y'all win. Matter of fact, y'all undefeated. y'all 5-0.
That's too funny.
No, but I agree.
I agree.
There's no reason that a two-time MVP has to commend his brother on his ring. The lesser brother on his ring. That's embarrassing. You're a two-time MVP, and your brother got a ring before you, and he don't even play.
Yep. He didn't play a single minute.
I mean, come on, bro. Like, what exactly is it that Milwaukee is going to do that they couldn't have done the last couple years?
Right.
Like, now all of a sudden, because my contract's coming up, now you want to take interest in us actually trying to make a run for the playoffs? Like, we should have won at least one ring by now. Like, there's no reason. When I got to make an excuse to say, don't call me an MVP until I win a ring, it damn sure ain't going to be with Milwaukee.
No.
And there are certain things that are cardinal rules that you just don't do. One of which is, if you're going to stay on a team, you don't unfriend your teammates. So,
which are the only people that you follow on your Instagram, by the way.
If you go through the line and you take the time, because we understand most people don't manage their accounts, but if you physically take the time to unfollow, unfriend fellow
You thought
workers,
about it. You thought about it if you did that.
then you already know what the deal is. You're not coming back. So you don't care how they feel about it because I won't have to talk to them again.
Yep. Peace
You know
out.
I mean? Like, I have nothing to say. And it's just what it is. Like, after I mean, come on, bro. This was the equivalent of what happened to Golden State when they basically upstage Chicago and winning the most, and then still not being able to pull it off and win a ring. Like, you guys far surpass every team in season wins. It's not even close. It's not even close. How many season wins that you guys have, and then when you get to the playoffs, you can barely make it past the first round. Like, that makes no sense. That makes no sense. If that was Golden State and that happened, can you imagine the amount of trash that would be talked about State right now?
Oh man. They'd be
So
burning jerseys.
And why they're being so polite to Giannis. Like, your team, all these teams from the East to the West had the top winning record, and then get into the playoffs, and you can't. The weakest, y'all say that the East is weak.
Yep.
You can't get through the East. That's a problem.
Correct.
Why am I staying here? There's
with
no
Kevin Durant injured.
Exactly.
You can't get to the East with Kevin Durant not playing. You
got beat by what was it? The first year you got beat by a Kawhi-led team.
Yep.
Which makes sense.
And it wasn't even the best team, but you got beat by a Kawhi-led team that had
at least
no
it's Kawhi.
Oh, and the year before that, you lost to a Celtics team who ended up facing the Lakers in the Eastern Conference Finals.
These are facts.
With a disgruntled Kyrie and Celtics team.
Then you lost to Miami.
Feels bad. They should never lose to Miami. Yep. The
Like,
other
come
two I'll
on,
actually give him, but not
like
Miami.
that's crazy. Like that's absolutely crazy. That is the moment when you go, there's no reason for me to stay here. There's literally no reason for me to stay here. If I stay here, I do not want to win a ring. That's what it boils down to. Because imagine being imagine being Giannis and trying to get other stars to come to your team to help you. Who's going to Milwaukee?
Nobody.
Nobody.
So
Like Keith
how are you
Sweat
guys
said.
better in order for you to get through to the finals?
And then who else can afford you if you leave?
Yep.
That has a good playoff contending team.
And that's why I said that the Mavericks would be the best contender for him to go to because they have the
Now
money to do so.
the West would be the worst thing he could ever do.
He has a better opportunity in making it through the playoffs, though. He's gonna have better
Really? Against the Lakers and the
with
Rockets
the
and the
Dallas team.
Warriors?
The way they're built right now, if he were to join Dallas, that team would be built a whole different story. You got to think about it. You got Luka, who can drop a 30-point triple double on you at any given night, with Porzingis, who can drop another 30 points on you on every given night. And then you can leave Giannis down low if you have that opportunity and Porzingis shooting threes. You can have Porzingis shoot threes all day long and just keep Giannis down low. You don't have to worry about Giannis shooting a three.
Yeah, but then you have to pay Luca or you have to pay
Luka's still under his
Giannis.
rookie contract for the next 2 years. You don't have to worry about playing Luka right now. Pay
Yeah, but
Giannis
you're
to do
not
it
gonna
right now and go get
you're
a
not
championship.
yeah, but it's like Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, you're not gonna
You
let
literally
one of the
paying him
best
one
players
year.
go down to the last straw. You know what I mean? They basically have
Giannis
1
is
year
going to
together.
end up in an Anthony Davis contract, 1 year contract this year. Just the exact same way. It's not going to be a max contract this year, and it's only going to be a 1 year deal.
1 year
Yep.
they can't win a championship. That's probably the best option for him, Melby. I think you're 100% right,
It's the
but they
best
still wouldn't
option.
win a championship. They still wouldn't win a
It's the
championship.
best option for him. He's not going to re-sign in the East.
He
I just say
resigns in the East, it better be with Miami.
don't count out Miami.
Yeah, if he signs in the East, it better be with Miami.
I just say don't count them out because Pat Riley is a smooth operator
He is.
and getting
And
stars.
he
So
was Miami was one of the opportunities for him to go to, but
Yep.
I don't know.
Miami's better than going to Dallas, I think. I think he has a better chance. I think if he joins with Miami, he's definitely going to the championship, right?
yeah.
Against the Lakers. But if he goes with Dallas, that's a better team. I think they're just a better team. The owners care about the players there more than anything else. I think he'll be happy there, but
Yep.
it's going to be a harder road to the finals.
It will be. But I think he'll like that, and it's going to be a better grind for him at the same time, too.
Either way,
they've won the
that
East
team's
and
over in
had
2
the
years.
expectations to win the East no matter what the last 2 years. So
Even if he goes to Miami.
they had a free ride to the number one seed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the West, that's going to bring out the better competition in him as well, and not be so let down at the same time.
I mean, that could be good or bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to Dallas. If I was him, I wouldn't go to Dallas. I'd be talking to Pat Riley like, bro, put me with Jimmy Butler, Duncan Roberts. Like, put me with this squad. Put me with this squad. Because Porzingis and Luka, that's a whole lot of money, bro. That's a whole
Like I
lot
said,
of money.
Luka's not getting no money yet. Not for
Because
another 2 more years.
the biggest mistake that Allen Iverson ever made was when he left Philly to Denver.
Yep.
Those guards over there exposed him that he wasn't as quick, he wasn't as fast as he was in the East. And there was no coming back. Like, once that's shown, no other team is going to take a risk on you.
I think. Yeah, and Luka might be. I mean, he's one of the best players in the whole league. Okay?
No, by far.
That's how good Luka is. So you don't let him continue to play for 2 years. You assure him that you're going to take care of him, and you sign him to a deal early.
After this year.
That's what I'm saying.
Before he even
not going to
reaches
be
the
2
end of
years.
his rookie contract, he's gonna.
And
it won't be this year he gets signed, but it'll be after this year, after the playoffs, that he'll get.
And
signed.
if I'm a team, I'd rather have Luka than Giannis. I'm sorry. I know Luka ain't got no MVPs, but I'd rather have Luka. than Giannis. I'm not building no team around a big man. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I understand. It's kind of the same argument that we make about the Warriors. You're in a league that is predominantly 3-point driven. So the way of the big man down low, banging bodies kind of has gone out of the window because threes are more than twos. So
Yep.
so if you are a big man, it's like, okay, can you also shoot threes?
Yeah.
And he has to get with someone to help develop that 3-point shot. If he had, I don't care if he's making 3 out of 7, bro. If
Yeah,
you
that's
can
better.
make a three, that opens up the floor. That gives you more versatility. People can't just sag off of you or play down
Right.
low. You
Even
got
Tim Duncan had to shoot threes, bro.
it.
You know what I'm saying? Like even Timmy D had to shoot threes.
Yep. I mean, shit. We even seen Dwight Howard knock down a three. So
Yeah,
in
true
a
that.
3-point shooter. So
Chris
like
Bosh too.
exactly. So when you see that you're in a league that's evolving to this point, you got to evolve with the league.
Right.
You
Correct.
can't. They're not going to devolve, and where they're just going to be dumping it down to you. So you got to be able to develop, and that's not just with Giannis. There are a couple of players in the league that needs to learn that truth and need to develop a shot
Yep.
because just layups aren't going
Ben
to cut it.
Simmons.
It ain't going to cut it.
Is there anything you guys want to add to podcast? Is there anything chat wants to ask us or add to podcast as well? We're gonna save college football for Saturday because we got 5 more days before college football, so it makes more sense to do it that way.
Cool,
That and
cool.
we can cover everything, do it all at the same time. All the college games play on Saturday at the same time too, so podcast will pretty much roll right into college football and we can cover college football at the same time. So I think it'll make more sense to do it that way.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
What's up,
Because
Kevin? Kevin in here with the random and.
it's so
And.
And then no and then. No and then.
There's nothing else, guys. Is there anything else you guys want to add in?
RIP Dallas Cowboys. Tank the rest of the season. Build up a defense. Seriously, tank the rest of the season. Pick a safety in the first round, and then pick an offensive lineman in the second round, and then back to another defensive lineman, please, because the Cowboys can't stop the pass or the rush. So please tank the rest of the season. Let Dak chill and get healthy. Okay, the whole season. Don't put him back in. Don't let
agreed.
Andy Dalton get his head rocked. You know what I'm saying? For the rest of the season. That's what backups are supposed to do. Come in and get your head rocked.
Mike McCarthy gonna get fired by the end of the season.
No, he won't.
Yes, he will.
Dude, he'll get a contract extension.
No, he's not.
Look how long we had Jason Garrett, for Christ's sake. Melby, you know who Jerry Jones is? He wants that head coach that he can control, who's not going to threaten him, who's not going to tell him, no, we're going to do it this way and we're going to win football
All the
games.
coaches and players are already against that
Yep.
dude. That dude's gonna get fired before you know it.
No alpha males. No alpha males. Jerry Jones does not want a head coach that's an alpha male. Nope. And he just turned, what, 175 last week, I believe? He just had a birthday.
Oh
Him and-
my lord.
Him and Mr. Burns had a great little celebration.
Okay.
That's too funny.
They got the same amount of liver spots. Oh, that's gross.
Wow.
Oh gosh.
Well, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us, guys. I think that'll wrap it up. Oof. Amazing podcast today, fellas. Had an awesome time, like always. Enjoyed talking sports with y'all. It's never a dull moment with you guys. Never a dull moment. Chat, thank you for all for stopping in, showing the love, asking us some questions, keeping us entertained at the same time. Love to see more of it. Can't wait for Saturday's podcast. Gonna be a lot more to come. Other than that, guys, been doing pretty good. I like the new setup. Hopefully, chat and everyone likes the new setup as well regarding everything too. And we will catch everyone on Saturday's podcast. And I'm also thinking about bringing out the Snake on podcast on Saturday.
Oh man.
Possibly thinking about bringing the Snake on podcast on Saturday. So let me know what you guys think about that. Give me some input, and we will see everyone on Saturday, guys. I'm gonna rate a special someone just because I love her.
Time's
We
up.
are going to go rate Miss Kenner, guys. I love Miss Kenner.
Hunters down.
Miss Kenner is absolutely amazing. She's been an absolute support system for me. She's done so much for me as well. And Miss Kenner is an amazing piece. She's hilarious. She's a good person, and I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it as well. So we're gonna go rate Miss Kenner, guys, and we
She's
will
a New Orleans
see
Saints fan.
everyone on Saturday, and we'll be excited to talk with you guys on podcast on Saturday. Thanks,
Peace
guys.
out, chat.
Latest.